Hello and welcome to the Liverpool Way podcast. We're coming to you after a disappointing 2-2 draw with Man United at Anfield. Despite a lacklustre performance throughout, the Reds looked on course for 3 points after goals from Gakpo and Salah, cancelled out Martinez's opener, but more sloppy defending enabled the visitors to earn a share of the spoils, and it might have been worse as United squandered chances to win it at the death. A result that seemed unlikely entering a wretched day weather-wise at Anfield puts a dent in the Reds' title charge, but favourable results elsewhere this weekend means serious damage was avoided. I'm Chris Smith and I'm joined by TLW editor Dave Usher and Ian Brown. Plenty of talking points from this one and I reckon we might be here a while, so strap yourselves in. Dave, deeply frustrating afternoon. What's your big takeaway from that?
It's a tricky one because I don't necessarily think my view of the game is fair or accurate. I think it's influenced by how I was feeling when I was watching it and the emotion involved. Because right now, what I thought about the game, I thought we were absolutely fucking shit and we were lucky to get a point. Now, I've seen all these stats afterwards about the XG and all that, and apparently we had a higher XG for this game than for the 7-0. So that kind of makes me think, am I looking at this too emotionally rather than objectively?
Yeah.
Me and John had this exact conversation afterwards because John was saying, it feels to me like they had better chances, they had more chances, and I feel like we were lucky to get away with that. And I said, look, John, I agree with you. But I think it might just be how we felt when we were watching it. So every time they went forward, you're panicking, thinking, oh my God, they're going to score. So it feels like maybe worse than it actually is. And because we just weren't really at it, we did have chances, but it was never in a period where we were really dominant and had them on the rack and we were piling pressure on, creating chances. It never felt like that. So I think my view of the game's a bit distorted. Based on just the emotion of watching it. But if you ask me now what I felt about it, I thought Virgil was excellent, I thought Gravenberch was excellent, I thought Maka was excellent, and everyone else varying degrees of not good enough. And then you've got Trent, who's a whole different story, which I'm sure we'll get to. But they were better than I thought they'd be, much better than I thought they'd be. But I also feel like a lot of that was down to the way we approached the game. I felt like the start of the game, we didn't fly at them. It wasn't all fire and brimstone at the start, which I thought that's what we do because they come into it and low on confidence, bad results, things not going well for them. There'll have been a lot of trepidation for them coming here. And I felt like we were just feeling them out a little bit. The first 10 minutes, we didn't really do anything. It was just... I felt like we just let them grow into the game and build a bit of confidence. And, they did grow in confidence. I thought they created, the second half especially, they obviously concentrated on attacking Trent's side. Had a lot of success doing it. I feel like we're lucky because the second goal, the penalty, regardless of whether people think it's a penalty or not, I've said before in the pod, the last time we got a penalty for handball, and I was saying, you do not get those penalties anymore. And at the time when we got that, I can't remember, was it Newcastle? I don't know, what was the game? Someone handballed it at the back post and we got a penalty.
Southampton,
yeah. At the time when I said that was only the third penalty that had been awarded all season for handball. And I think we're on about 5 now, and we've got 2 of them. So I feel like we're lucky that we got that penalty. Whatever people think about, it's I haven't seen it back, so I don't know, but arms in an unnatural position, that's a penalty, blah, blah, blah. All I'm saying to you is they're very, very rarely given these days. So I feel like a little bit we're lucky to get that. And I mean, they had chances at the end. They looked more likely to score at the end than we did. And I know apparently the Maguire one, Xerxes may have been offside. I've seen that back and it looks close, could have gone either way. I don't know. I haven't seen any lines or anything, so I don't know if he's offside. But I know at the time when that happened, it was just heart and mouth. Oh my God. But if they'd have scored that and they'd have won the game, I don't even think we could have complained about it and said we were unlucky. I felt like we were just asking for it. We were an absolute shambles at the back. We looked all over the place. And I'm saying that despite saying how good Virgil was. So that tells you we had other problems in the back four, not just Trent. that's the most glaring problem. Canate's come back. He looked a little bit rusty. I thought
he shouldn't have played.
He wasn't bad, but he was rusty. You know,
he shouldn't have started.
No, I thought we rushed him back. I was surprised. I didn't think Robbo had a great game. But yeah, Virgil was like, you know, keeping it all together as best he could. But yeah, I just thought it was a really disappointing, frustrating performance. Not good enough. We've got away with it in the fact that Arsenal had dropped 2 points the day before, so there's no damage done. But, you know, we should have been pulling away by beating them. Because now, look at the games we've got coming up. The next two league games, Forest away and Brentford away. Like, I would have took 4 points before that. 4 points from them would have been okay, assuming we won today. But now we've dropped points. It's like, now I feel like we probably have to win both of those, and that's not going to be easy.
Brownie, did you see things did you see it any differently to Dave, or are you pretty much on board with that? And what are the things that you'd pick out from today?
No, I think today's a game of like preconception and narrative, to be honest with you. Like, everybody went into that game thinking Liverpool are going to win 5-6-0.
I didn't. I mean, I thought 2-0, Brownie. I thought it would be like just a routine. We dominate the game, but we wouldn't batter them. They dig in and it'd be 2-0. So I wasn't expecting.
They would always going to play above themselves.
I never thought for a second that would happen.
I can only talk about the people I spoke with in the build-up to the game. I'm not even talking Liverpool fans. I'm talking about neutrals. And the worst thing about games like this, when you go into it and everybody's expecting you to twat somebody, when you don't, they then start pointing at you and going, and you're like, hang on, I didn't say it, you fucking said it. There's nothing worse in football. It does my head in. Absolutely does my head in. I'm not sitting there saying anything about the game. You're the one doing it, so don't fucking start coming at me when it doesn't happen. Like, I was up in Newcastle yesterday starting my UEFA C badge, and obviously they're all Geordies. They haven't got a fucking clue what they're talking about with football. Like, I saw that in the coaching as well. And they're all going on 5-0, and I'm like, listen, I'll take 1-0. I will take 1-0 like that. You know what I mean? We know about these games. Like, you just get the 3 points, move on. Like, yeah, we want to hate them and everything, but doesn't matter how much you beat them by almost. Like, remember when we beat them 7-0? That was in a season where we were fucking shit.
Yeah.
And we were making the point that, hang on,
we finished below them, didn't we?
Yeah, we used all our goals up in that game when we wanted to spread them out over 3 or 4 games to get more points. So I don't care about all that. That's not a thing for me. I just think a lot of people went into that game thinking Liverpool are far superior, the best team in the league. They're a mess. It's going to go this way. So when it didn't, people start talking things up more than it is. Like, Gary Neville's like just a joke. Like, how many times have we said on here, you can't have Gary Neville on United and Liverpool games, and equally you can't have Jamie Carragher on United and Liverpool games, because the emotion just overtakes everything to the point where they lose kind of. They're not objective, are they? They don't talk about the game that's in front of them. So were United shit in the first half? No, they were better than we expected. Were Liverpool as good as we thought they would be? Probably not. But think about the fucking chances we had in the first half. Like Macca's chance right in front of the goal. Like, you could say that's a decent save by Onana when you watch the replay back. It just hits his foot. He has no clue about it. That's a big chance. Cody Gakpo's chance where he gets put in on, down the left, and for me, uses the wrong foot. He should be, trying to dink that with his left foot. That's a huge chance. Højlund has a chance, yeah, fair enough. But he's never beaten Ali from the angle there. It's not going to happen, like, against the best goalie in the world. Not happening. Like, that game's 2-0 at half time. Gary Neville's turning around and saying, fucking same old United and Liverpool, the professional performance, all this stuff. Like, I don't buy that at all, that they played well. I do not, that's not the game I watched there today. Yes, we would expect that we would have been better than we were, and maybe they would have been worse than they were, but we were the better side and we should have won the game. You look at that and you take your emotion away from that game, we should have won the game. It's 2 points dropped in that sense. But at the same time, I don't think that's a terrible point, because with what Arsenal did yesterday, like, we don't have to win every game. It's okay every now and again if we have the odd draw here and there, you know what I mean? Like, you're talking about the next couple of games will be difficult. I don't expect Nottingham Forest to keep up the pace that they're doing. Like, if anything, them being as high as they are is probably a good thing us going there, because they might get a little, a few ideas above the station kind of thing, and we can just pick them off. I don't have any concerns about that. I don't think it's the end of the world. I want to talk about Trent. Can we just skip straight to it now and talk about Trent? The big thing from me today, the big talking point, we can talk about a game all we want, it's Trent Alexander-Arnold. We need to talk about him. Because that's a completely unacceptable performance with what's gone on this week. I'm fucking fuming. Absolutely furious with him this week. You can't have that going on. We're going for the league title and you've got a local lad who doesn't give a shit about that, all about him. I'm fucking furious with that. You can't have WhatsApp. Like, last week he scores a goal and he's doing all that, everybody's talking. Then you get the news breaks in the week about bids coming in.
2 days later, 2 days after that.
A bid comes in, it gets rejected. Then there's more talk about, they're thinking about putting another bid in. Then there's another thing about, they've offered him this contract and that. And then he goes and puts that performance in. It's fucking completely unacceptable. If he really cared about his fucking team and his club, his local fucking team, by the way, and his local club, then none of that would come into the equation at all. He would have turned around to them and said, even if he wanted to go there, and do you know what? If we win the league and it gets to the end of the season and there'd be no speculation, there'd be none of this stuff going on, we'd all have been like, yeah, that's sound, no problem. But the moment that he's fucking rejecting contract offers and he's doing all them fucking, gesticulations after he scores a goal and there's these stories coming out, it's completely unacceptable. I'm at the point where, I'm emotional, and I might regret it tomorrow, but I'd just fucking write off now, to be honest with you. Get Conor Bradley in the team, go and buy another right back, he can fucking do one.
Dave, are you there?
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with anything Brownie said there. I will try to play devil's advocate a little bit. Not even necessarily because I believe this, but if we go back to... all the stuff that's happened, the thing that pissed me off more than anything else when I'm looking back at it is that fucking celebration at West Ham. That was the bit that just made me think, who the fuck do you think you are? Doing that fucking stupid Bellingham celebration. Stop talking. And 2 days later, fucking Real Madrid are putting a bid in for him, which does not happen without his fucking say-so. I mean, I said I'm trying to play devil's advocate here, and now I'm just going off on one because I'm pissed off. I will get to the point that I'm making, which is basically, I don't necessarily think it's done and dusted that he's going to Madrid. I'm not saying it's not, but I don't think it's as black and white as, he's definitely off. I don't think that's it. And the reason for that is, so they put a bid in for him, which does not happen without him and his brother, who's his agent. It's without their say so. Madrid don't do that without Trent saying, yeah, do that. Because if he had a problem with it, he'd say, no, don't bid for me now. We'll sort it out near the time. So that was weird to me, because I do not think for 1 second Trent wants to leave in January and miss out on potentially winning the title, potentially winning other stuff, and the parade at the end of the season and that. He's not going to want to walk away from that in the middle of a season. No way. So why is that bid coming in? So then I'm looking at it going, well, what's going on? What's the game here? There's obviously ulterior motives. So maybe it's about he's going to go at the end of the season and he wants the little get out of jail clause where he can say, well, I'm going on a free, but you could have had money for me in January. They offered money. You could have accepted it then. He's known that the club are not going to accept 15, 20 million, whatever it was. But he can also then say, well, they could have got money for me in January, but they said no. So whether it was that, I don't know. I also think it's not definite that in his head he's I'm going to Madrid. Because if he wanted to stay here on his terms, it's about money, and he wants to get as much money as he possibly can out of Liverpool. If that's what he wants, well, the way you would go about that was you'd keep Madrid hanging on and saying, yeah, there's my option there. Because Mo hasn't got that option. Liverpool are looking at Mo and going, yeah, well, where the fuck are you going to go? You've got nowhere to go. That's you've got no leverage here. Eventually you will accept the best contract we offer you, because where's your leverage? You can't use Saudi. We know you don't want to go there. You're not going to go to another Premier League side. So Liverpool have got leverage against like Salah and Van Dijk to a lesser extent, maybe.
What's the point you're working towards here?
The point is, like, I don't think like Trent playing the way he did today is because he doesn't give a fuck and he's going to Real Madrid. I think Trent played the way he did today because he's put himself in this situation, and the pressure that was on him today after all the fucking shit that he's caused this week, all the talk being about him in a week when we're playing Man United. Like, I'm not defending that at all. It's fucking disgusting that this came about, because Trent is not an innocent bystander in this. This does not happen without him and his brother, like, saying to Real Madrid, yeah, put a bid in, and whatever's going on, whatever's in play, which we do not know what's in play yet, but we do know that they've put a bid in and it doesn't happen without Trent going along with it. So for that to happen in the week when we're playing Man United at home, if you're going to do all that shit and you're going to do that fucking celebration against West Ham last week, if you're going to do all that, you better fucking deliver in that game against Man United. Yeah. And he didn't, because he's put too much pressure on himself by the situation he's created. And he fucking wilted big time today in that. He could not cope with it. And all this stuff where he's like jogging around and half-arsing it, it's not because he doesn't give a fuck. It's because his fucking head was all over the place.
Bad luck though, innit?
It's a terrible look. It's an awful look. The video of the first goal.
I want to talk about that first goal, because
I said to you though, that's like, Marcus Rashford. That's fucking Marcus Rashford when everyone's laughing at him, going, look at Rashford's so-called pressing. That was Trent just fucking trotting about after he'd lost the ball.
So Marcus Rashford is a striker, right?
And it's on the halfway line.
And it's on the halfway line against the centre half where there's no risk, right? Trent's against Bruno Fernandes, who's a right-footed player who's playing out towards the left, okay? One of the principles of play, don't let somebody come in into the strong foot. Yeah. Somebody who's got quality as well. We can say what we want about him. He does have quality. If you let him come inside, he can pick out a pass, he can hit a shot. So you have to force him on the outside to just let him go inside. He almost fucking just... The only thing missing there was him putting his arm out and going, there you go, mate. Like, you just fucking let him waltz into there, and then it costs us a goal. It's completely unacceptable. Now, you can make excuses for him and arguments and say, the pressure got to him, his head turned, etc. Just take all that out the equation. That is literally 1v1 defending. You don't fucking do that. There's no excuse for that. I don't care about his contract. I don't care about any other. You can't do it.
It's an explanation. It's not an excuse.
You can't unless
you genuinely think that.
I don't think that's because he wants to go. I don't think that at all. I don't think that. I just think that's just fucking completely unacceptable defending. It's not the first time we've seen it from him. It's totally unacceptable. That's what you take from him now, don't you? Like that will happen every now and again. But you take the rough with the smooth with him because he's got strengths which are just fucking outrageous. And obviously he hasn't had that today, has he? No. So it's almost like you weigh those things up, but you're going to get the odd game where you don't. I mean, he's gone from having a 9, possibly even a 10 out of 10 performance last week, and then a 4 or 5 today.
Which is ironic, because Slot said the other day about his consistency.
He's not consistent.
He said that he's got to work on his consistency. That's been a problem this season, and then he proves it by putting in a performance like that.
You'd rather have 2 7 out of 10s, wouldn't you? Because you know what you're getting.
Like, today could have been just one of those, occasional stinkers that Trent throws in. It could have been that, but because of the timing of it and all of the shit that he's caused, and he has caused it, this is all his own making. This whole thing is his own making. He's created this situation, and then in that situation, he's fucking wilted. Now, possibly it's just one of those bad games that he sometimes has, but it's not. It's to do with with his head, his mentality, how everything that's been going on this week, and because we're talking about the stuff that we know, the situation that he's created, and people are talking about it. Fuck knows what's been going on behind the scenes. Yeah. In terms of conversations he's having with Real Madrid, conversations he's had with Slot, what have other players said? Because I fucking guarantee there'll be other players now absolutely fucking fuming.
Did you see Verge?
I've seen a couple of clips,
Have you seen Verge was fucking furious with him multiple occasions today.
And understandably so. And you know what was what really made it worse? Somehow he managed to stay on for 87 minutes, which is a fucking miracle.
Yeah, that's
because he should have been hooked after about 55.
Do you see him when he was hooked as well? He could not get off that field fucking quick enough. As soon as Gakpo's number went up,
because it looked to me like he sort of brushed past him, but I I haven't seen a replay of it. It looked like he just kind of brushed past it. He did shake hands with other people as he walked past, but
he should have been off the pitch half an hour earlier.
He should. The only thing I'll say about him getting off the pitch really quickly was Conor Bradley had been standing there for a couple of minutes, so he knew he was coming off. So, but I just think what makes it so much worse is Conor Bradley's on the pitch for 10 minutes and totally put him to shame.
Oh my God! I was thinking if we had another 15 minutes
when
of
he
him, we're getting
dribbled
a
past,
winner.
like, and he, you know, he puts the shot in, all of that, and you're like, oh my God, 10 minutes he's been on the pitch, and compare that with what Trent served up.
That's what we needed all afternoon, what Bradley did in those 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's one of the things we were missed, directness and aggression and like a little bit of purpose, which we just lacked completely throughout the afternoon, really. And I think one of the things that struck me about Trent today, I had a little bit of a realization, is that he thinks he's Gerrard. He thinks he's that magnitude of footballer, that he deserves the top money at the club. He deserves the top money in the league. Like, he's fucking battering his eyelids at Real Madrid. Grass is greener. But when it comes down to it, he doesn't have the mentality that Gerrard did to back it up, because you knew that in that situation, like, there's no way that Gerrard would have put that performance in today. But like, you know, this lad thinks he's on that level when he's clearly not. He's not as good. He's not consistent enough. Like, he can't put the team on his back in the way that he probably thinks he does.
Because he's a right back as well.
I was just going to say, like, I don't want to go too far with the criticism of him here. Like, he is a generational talent. There's only so much you can do playing from right back.
He is.
Chris, he is.
But he's a
There's
right
only
back.
so much you can do from playing at right back, mate. That's like just a fact.
I want to get to that because that's a point like I want to make about it.
There is only so much you can do. Now, he's redefined.
Do you know what I want to see from a right back?
Mate.
There's only so much you can do as a right back. I would like to see him like do some right back stuff.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, don't let fucking Dallo look like Gareth Bale. Fucking knocking it past him and sprinting and getting there. I'm like, I've never seen Dallo do that. And I think he's a decent fullback. I think he's one of United's best players. But that's not what he does. You know,
last two games I've watched them, by the way.
Bale. He was just knocking it and running.
He constantly keeps coming inside on his right foot, and they clearly had a plan, didn't he?
He started going on the outside.
Attack him on the outside because he's a bit lazy with his defending. That is a fact. Like, you just have to accept that and be honest. Like, that's true.
Just on the whole right back thing, like, he is a generational talent. He's redefined the position, all of that stuff. It's easy to overlook that when he's throwing in stinkers like that. But the thing for me is, if he's wanting to be on like this, like huge money, like same money as Salah, whatever, and all that, and like, you know, there's some rumours he wanted to be the best paid player in the league. Which, if that's the case, I mean, fucking hell, how deluded are you? But whatever the case is, he knows he can get a certain amount of money from Madrid because of the whole Bosman thing. So he's wanting similar money from Liverpool to stay. If that's, unless he's made up his mind that he's gone, we don't know. But if you're wanting that kind of money, the way I look at it is, yeah, he's a world-class player. He's been amazing for us. He's redefined the position. He does things nobody else can do. But when you strip all of that away, the bottom line is he's a right back. Now, if you take him out and you put Joe Gomez there, never mind Conor Bradley, if you take Trent out and you put Joe Gomez at right back, how different are our results going to be over the course of a season? Are we going to suddenly stop winning because we haven't got like Trent at right back? No, I think we just carry on regardless. And that's not to say he's a luxury player, because he's not. You know, obviously he's contributed fucking incredibly over the time he's been in the team. I'm not downplaying any of that at all. And all I'm saying is, if you take Virgil out the team, it's like, that's a problem. You take Trent out and you put Conor Bradley or Joe Gomez in, the team's just going to carry on rolling. It's not going to be like this, oh my God, how do we replace that? That's not what it is. It's great having Trent, and it's great the things he does. I've loved watching him. He does some amazing things. When he's on it, he's amazing. But he's a right back.
You just said he's not that you can do. You just said he's not a luxury player, and then described a luxury player.
He's not a luxury player though, because he's contributing massively.
I know.
All I'm saying is
because you have to accommodate him.
In certain games, yeah, you do have to, yeah. And people have been talking about how his defending's been much better this season and that. And at times it has, but at times people are walking past him as well, you know, so there's still... I do think there's an improvement there, but I think that's mainly a positional thing in terms of how we're set up now. He's not as high as he was. But another thing today, this is not to defend him because he stunk. He was fucking awful. the only thing that I would say is they're targeting that side of the pitch. It's not just because Trent's vulnerable. It's like you didn't have Dom there today for a start, who does a lot of work over on that side. Mo does not come back and defend. Doesn't do it. Not a criticism of him, because he's told not to do that. He did that interview with Sky the other day, and it was like it was quite like pointed for me. Was when they said about what's the difference in your role now, you know, in this team as opposed to before, and he's just laughing and he went, less defending. So he is not expected to be doing that, but that's leaving Trent to do like a lot more than ideally you'd want him to do. And then it's compounded today by the fact that usually Canate just totally fucking bosses that whole side of the pitch, irrespective of what Trent's doing. You know, if Trent's having a bad game, Canate's there covering. If Trent's
Did you hear what Slot said about it?
No, I haven't heard.
He made a comment about Grav not being as close as he should have been. He almost, like, in response to a question from one of the journos criticising Trent, he didn't go. He didn't go there and criticise him. He mentioned something about Gravenberch not covering as much as he should have done, which I thought was a bit harsh because I thought he played well.
Yeah, but that might be true.
As a tactical side of it, that might be true, but it's one of them where they're probably setting up now and saying the 6 covers him when he goes forward as
because
opposed
Dom's
to your
not
winger
there,
coming
someone's
back.
got to fill in. Like,
well, Dom plays
that
more like a 10 when he plays.
Yeah, but he also
I want to talk about Dom, by the way.
Like work on that right hand side as well.
Dom was a huge miss today. I mean, you think about the midfield and like
non-entity.
Fucking hell, Curtis was playing a different game of football to what was required, wasn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Curtis was playing Ipswich at home, but it was Man United at home, mate. Like, come on, fucking hell. Like, that, the absolute worst of Curtis, that, like, where he just slows everything down. There was a moment where the ball got played to him and there was 15 yards in front of him to drive into, and he took a touch, dropped his shoulder, came back and popped it off, and you're like, nah. Dom would have just went into that space, and then it causes them to scramble. Somebody runs out of position, you get an overload back post, all that kind of stuff.
Listen to you appreciating Dom.
No, mate, like, I can appreciate somebody's strengths, but also want more from them. I think he's done well this season, to be fair. I think the stuff that we said about him has been justified, because as he steps up and starts contributing more, that just proves the point that that's always been there within him. He just needs to do it. But no, I think he was a big miss today when you look at, like, their midfield, lack of legs, and
but he should be. We should be able to, like, not miss him in a game like that today. I agree that we did miss him.
You know, the difference between Dom and Curtis is huge, though, isn't it, when you look at it? Like, it's massive in terms of profile of player.
Yeah, he's more of a marker than a Dom, you know, for that position.
100%,
he's better in that role than I thought. He was fucking born to play this, like, number 10 role, and he's not.
No.
It's not. He's better when he's playing deeper.
I agree.
It's not, Harvey's much better in that 10 role than Curtis, I think.
I was pining for Harvey today.
And he was good when he come on. Like, that ball that he played to Mo when he just dinked it, like, into the corner, that was fucking quality. I need to see more of Harvey playing, like, that 10 role now.
Agree.
Yeah.
Anything else on Trent that we want to get out the way? Chris, you've not really said that much about it. You know, you got anything to add?
You guys have covered it pretty well, really. Like, I don't want to pile in even more. I've got nothing nice to say, so I'm just not going to say anything else right now. But
okay, so one more thing then. Probably didn't come across on the telly, and it wasn't that audible in the ground. But when in, like, this, because it was a double substitution was made. Shit, I just spilt me water everywhere. As if I wasn't wet enough, like, after today. So they made the double substitution. And so the first player who came off was it Curtis? No, he'd already gone off, hadn't he? It was
Cody.
Yeah. So Cody comes off, Harvey goes on, and then Trent, like, and so, like, everyone's, like, clapping as Cody comes off. Cody's, like, clapping the fans and all that. And then Trent was sort of already over on that side of the pitch anyway, so he didn't have that far to go. And as he came off, there was a little spattering of booze from the cop, but it was...
Yeah, I heard that too.
There wasn't much. It was, like, barely audible, but it was just about audible.
That's completely unacceptable, by the way. That, like, under any circumstance, you can't do that.
You know what? All that's doing, and I'm glad it was only a little tiny spattering, because if it was more than that, there's your story. Trent booed off by Liverpool fans. Not Trent has absolute fucking stinker after flirting with Real Madrid all week. The story is Liverpool fans boo Trent off. Like, they're already talking about that because fans are ringing up phone-ins and stuff and like slagging off the performance or whatever. So it's already like a narrative there. Like, fans are not happy with Trent. But if there'd been actual loud booing, or even though, like, I understand people thinking that's not acceptable and wanting to let him know, but you're missing the point. If you do something like that, all you're doing is opening the door for Trent to fuck off to Real Madrid and say, the fans wanted me out. You know, I was
it's
up
not
until
even
that
just
point.
that,
I was
Dave,
thinking about staying, but clearly, like, the fans don't want me here. So don't give him that. Don't give him that excuse. If he's going to go to Real Madrid, let him actually come out and say, "I'm going to Madrid." Don't make it easy for him by like giving him loads of shit now.
It's not even just that. For me, it's just a very simple, like, Liverpool way thing. We don't do that. Like, I got taught when I went to match with my dad, you don't boo Liverpool players. We don't do that. Other fucking knobhead fans do that. Like, we can be as critical as we want, and we're here now on a podcast being critical. The whole idea of being a Liverpool fan, like, rightly or wrongly, if somebody's taking the piss and performing poorly and being a knobhead, you fucking, the game finishes, you clap them off, you go to the pub and you call them a cunt in the pub. You don't do it in the ground. Like, that's a big thing about being a Liverpool fan for me. So, I mean, I wasn't there today, like, it wasn't my game, but if anyone around me had been doing that, I'm lucky me, I'm in the Cop and there's a group of us there and we've kind of got that sense of what it is to be a Liverpool fan. Like, that would have got shouted down and those people would have got told to fuck right off, because that's just completely unacceptable shit.
It was a tiny amount of people, to be fair. And I think the only reason like that it was audible, that I could hear it, was because there wasn't a load of applause either to drown it out.
Chris has been really quiet. Was it you, Chris?
No, it wasn't me, but I certainly wasn't applauding him off either. So
no, that's fine. Like, but you don't boo, do you? Like, I don't know what you think about that. You don't do that. Like, that's just not what we do. Like, not what we do.
I'll tell you what I did think though. The reaction to his poor play today was amplified a lot by, I think, what happened. People's backs were up by him already, weren't they? So every time he misplaced a pass today or went for one of those stupid Hollywood balls like he did for the first goal, then that got a more abrasive reaction than it would have done a week ago, say.
And I think that's fine. Like, that's going to happen, isn't it? There's nothing wrong to that. You're going to react to the actions on the pitch. That's a different thing to booing somebody. There's, you know, a lot of people, like, you get super fans saying, don't moan and groan, get behind them and that. I'm like, if somebody does something fucking stupid, it's human nature that you're going to be frustrated by it. Of course you are. Like, that's a different thing to be
in a big game like that as well.
I don't have a problem like that. Like, that's a different thing. But I want to, like, the last, like you said before, Dave, anything else to say about Trent? And it's not necessarily about Trent, but it's a bit of a segue just in general about the selection of the team and the decisions on the day. I think today, like, Slot's done amazing this season. He's like far, like, exceeded expectations for me. He's done a fantastic job. I think he made a couple of big mistakes today for me. One of them was leaving Trent on as long as he did. He should have been off the pitch half an hour earlier. And the other one for me is starting Konate over Quansah. I think that's a huge mistake.
He's got no faith in Quansah, has he?
For multiple reasons. Yeah, but that kind of almost ruins Quansah's season, like, because he came on against West Ham, did really well. Yeah, okay, you think about the opposition, you think about the state of the game, all that kind of stuff. But the moment Konate comes back with this fucking knee brace on, where you kind of like, is he fit, is he not fit? And he waltzes straight back in the team. What message does that send to Quansah? What does it say, you know, to him about his prospects for the rest of the season? Like, even if he comes back in next game, he's thinking he doesn't believe in me. There's no trust there.
Well, the next game's the cup, isn't it? So it's like,
I mean, the next league game, the next real game. You know, I'm doing that, like, real game. I'm not discounting the next. You know how it works with cup games and second team and all that kind of stuff. The next proper game, because we're going for the league title here. Let's not forget, like, he's not going to be in the team. So what message does that send to him? I'm a big, like, the person with the shirt deserves to start as long as he's performing well. Do you know what I mean? You shouldn't just waltz straight back in the team if somebody else is doing well. Like, it wouldn't have been right if Gomez hadn't have picked up his injury. It wouldn't have been the right Konate coming in for Joe Gomez. I'd have been saying Joe Gomez should have played today.
And
it's not about the play. I know, exactly. I don't like that. So,
you know what makes it worse? I could be wrong here, but this is just based on what Slot himself said. He said on Friday in his press conference, Bradley and Konate were going to join the first team training today.
Yeah.
That was 2 days before the game.
I know.
Yeah.
Not that they've been in training all week, which if he'd been in training all week, I'd have no problem with him bringing him back in. But he starts training on Friday and you're putting him in on Sunday. That's not normal. That's not how they normally do these things.
Exactly.
It's really unusual to do that. So I think
in hindsight, he should have fucking started Bradley then, shouldn't he?
Yeah, I don't know whether Bradley. He does a lot more running than the centre backs. I don't know if Bradley could have done. But I just think it's a real knock against Quansah that he rushed Konate back.
Yeah.
But on that front, though, in terms of moving forward, like I think now once Bradley is fit, then he's our first choice right back for until this situation with Alexander-Arnold is resolved one way or the other. Like I don't think he deserves to start in the team while all this is going on. If he wants to play him in the cup games, if he wants to give him a run out against Accrington Stanley, knock him down a peg or two, that's fine by me. But if Connor Bradley's fit and ready to go, he's our first choice right back. And then when Joe Gomez comes back, he's our second choice right back. Like I'm honestly at the moment I'm sick of the sight of Trent. I don't want to see him. Don't want to hear from him. If you're staying, you're staying. Great.
If you're doing that, though, Chris, you may as well sell him, hadn't you? If you're saying he's third choice right back.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not necessarily. I'm just saying until it's resolved one way or the other. That could be this week. That could be next week.
If you do that, though, do you not think you are resolving it? You're basically saying to him, right, fuck off.
No, I don't.
So you may as well take the
money.
money.
No, I think there's a more diplomatic way of doing it. But I just think that we want players out there who are very, very committed to winning this title for Liverpool, and I think that I'm questioning his integrity today as well as his mentality. So,
I think it's more error of judgment than anything else. If I'm being a little bit fair on it, I don't think there's necessarily an intention there where he's being a tit on purpose. I just think he's making mistakes and he's
maybe just
errors in judgment. Maybe he is. I don't know. You don't know.
Choice of friends and the goal celebration does point you in that direction.
Yeah.
When he's doing Bellingham celebrations, it's like, what? And not even just the one with that, but even the shushing one when he did it against Man City, I was fine with that because it's away at Man City. You've just scored and you standing in front of them, putting your finger to your lips. But then he scored at Anfield a couple of weeks later and did the same celebration. I'm like, what are you doing? You've just taken all the shine off the one that you did away at Man City now. It's just, I think maybe it's an age thing. It's like we're at an age where we look at stuff like that and go, you fucking knobhead. Whereas people of that age, it's normal to them. They don't think anything of it. It's all about.
Are we guilty of overanalyzing it because he's a local lad and all that stuff as well?
It's stuff that we wouldn't do and we're not used to seeing. And so you look at it and go, I don't like that. The problem is, not everyone is going to be James Milner or Andy Robertson. And that's what we want. We want people with that attitude towards everything. They're like old men in young men's body. If you they think the same way as the older generation do. And then you look at all the social media generation, and it's totally different. And they do stupid shit, stupid celebrations like that, or fucking unfollowing the club on social media. All just stuff that you go, what are you doing, you tit? Don't do
we need to
stuff
talk
like
about your boy with that one, then, don't we? The AC Milan thing. We'll get to that. Maybe.
Well, I don't.
Is that true? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't even know if that happened or not. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if it was, but that's another example of it. That's what I'm saying. It's this generation, they just do
shit about
stupid shit like that, and it's we look at it and make it out to be bigger than it is. It's just it's just childish, isn't it? But that's the way they are.
Last thing on Trent, I keep saying last thing on Trent. It would not surprise me if he's the best player on the pitch 5 out of the next 6 games he plays. That's the mad thing about it, isn't it? It's the kind of variance in performance that you get from it. It's not like this is the absolute end, but it's a huge game against them where you want to win, you want to fucking stamp your foot on Arsenal's throat. So it hurts almost that it's happened, especially in this week where all that other stuff's going on. So it's a bit raw. It's not like it's the end and we can't come back from this. Just to be clear, for people listening, thinking, you've made your decision. All that's not the case. Things can change. We accept that. It's just fucking frustrating right now.
That being said, though, Brownie, going back to what Chris said about what he'd like to see, I'm not saying I would do that. I don't think it's an unreasonable thing to say, though. But I also think there's not a chance in hell that it happens. I think what I would, the situation with the 3 contracts, with Mo and Virgil, I'm quite happy for that to just play out its natural course, and eventually you like to think it'll get sorted, even if it's like at the end of the season, whatever. With Trent, it's different. I feel like it needs to be brought to a head. And
why is it different, though?
It's different for a lot of reasons, but like, you know, with them, it's like, I don't think they're not looking at going somewhere else. If they go somewhere else, it's because they feel like they've been forced to go somewhere else.
There's not a team specifically caught them, like you mean.
Ideally, they both desperately want to stay. They want to stay on their own terms, and they're not going to sign a contract that they're not happy with. Now, we don't know what they're asking for, whether it's unreasonable or whatever. And I'm not getting involved in any of that stuff. I'm not pointing the finger at the club and saying you should have given them a contract, because we don't know what they're asking for. They might want too much, and eventually, like, that's where negotiation comes in. With them, I don't think there's any hurry to get that done. With Trent, I do think there is, because like Trent, if he's going to go to Madrid, what do we like? We need to know that, you know, and Liverpool need to make him a final offer. Like, what's the most money you are prepared to pay him, and you're not going to go above that? Liverpool will have a number in their head, and they will know we're not going above that. And they should just offer Trent that contract and say, look, this is it. There's no improvements on this. This is the best we can do for you. It's not going up. So what do you want to do? Do you want to sign this contract? Do you want to wait till the end of the season and see if you've got a better offer and then revisit this? Or they need to find out his intentions one way or another. And then if he says, no, I'm not going to sign it and I want to leave, well, let us all know. There's no point in like this uncertainty. And then and then if he carries on playing well, the pressure's off him. He's already said what's happening, and as long as he delivers performances, the fans will be okay with that. But if he plays like he did today, that's a different matter, and basically not okay. And then in that case, you fuck him off and you say, look, you're not playing well enough. Conor Bradley's the future. Joe Gomez can do a job. If your head's not in the right place and you're not going to deliver performances, you're not playing. And I think
basically
you can't let it drift.
Closure.
Yeah, you can't let it drift.
You can say that now, though. You can say that now. You can say that after today. If your head's not in the right place, you're not putting in performances, you're not playing, whether it's resolved or not. I'm saying it's a better idea to do that when it's unresolved rather than it being resolved. It's more fruitful to do it that way.
I think you need to bring forward like the contract situation and like, look, we're not going to let this drift. We want to know one way or another, what are your plans?
We can't have the uncertainty for the next like 4, 5, 6 months, can we? That's the point.
Can't have the uncertainty for the next 4 or 5 fucking days. You're right. It just needs to be sorted one way or the other.
Mm-hmm. Like for me, it was a little bit of looking at, well, we have to judge a little bit. Like if he's going to go, what's the value? Like you have to judge. Is he worth staying and putting in really good performances for 6 months versus getting 20 million quid? That's where you're trying to weigh the thing up, aren't you? And you're thinking, should we take the money and go and deal with it now, or should we just accept that he's staying, but he's still going to perform well? The problem with today is it starts putting doubts in your head about, hang on, is he going to perform well for the next 6 months? So that for me is where it changes a little bit. It almost brings it forward a little bit, like what you're saying, Dave, that you need to just know so you can make a decision.
Do you know what makes it even worse? What potentially would make it even worse? What if Real Madrid come back in with another bid? Because that, again, is not happening without like them talking to Trent first and letting them know what they're going to do.
Well, after today, I hope
if they come back in with another bid, that is the fucking massive slap in the face to everyone, that he can play the way he's played today and then still be encouraging Real Madrid to come in and put a bid in for him. That would be outrageous. But I mean, I keep coming back to it. The thing that's wound me up more than anything else is the way he celebrated at West Ham. It's like, who do you think you are? It's not unjustified that people are talking about you. What are you expecting people to just ignore it and not say anything? Like, I mean, I said at the time on the pod, I don't know who that was directed at and what it was all about. It's now reached the point where it doesn't matter. You're making these cryptic fucking gestures like that, and 2 days later, Real Madrid are putting a bid in for you. Like,
terrible.
It's such a bad look. It's like so unacceptable, and that makes everything else worse for me. If he hadn't have done that celebration, I wouldn't be as mad as I am. But you see that and you think, the absolute arrogance of it. It's either arrogance or just completely, tone deaf to the situation, just not aware of like what's going on and how people are feeling about it, and thinking he's like being hard done to. People are talking about me. Fucking hell.
Yeah. I mean, like, football are in tone deaf shocker. It's not. It's not again. It's not out of the realms of possibility. Look at Jordan Henderson and people like that. It's kind of their specialty, isn't it? Most footballers. But should we navigate back to the game for a little bit, lads? Do you think?
We have to.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the first half because I thought our approach gave them a little bit of encouragement. For a game against Manchester United at Anfield, first of all, it was the worst atmosphere I can remember a game like of this.
Was it bad in the ground?
Yeah, it was shit in the ground. Yeah, really shit. I don't think the weather helped either, but it just felt flat from the very, very beginning. Nobody really seemed really that up for it. And our approach didn't really help as well. We were kind of like slow and ponderous, and there was no zip on the ball or anything, and there was not really any urgency in our play.
Do you think that was the pitch, though? Did you not think the pitch looked dead fluffy?
I'm telling you now, the ball was getting stuck. The ball was getting within 30 seconds of the game kicking off. I turned around to Yol,
but there were loads of overhit
passes
flowing as well, weren't there?
Yeah, maybe that's overcompensating for the ball holding up. I definitely thought, like you said about the lack of zip, and I feel like that was a contributing factor because it just looked like it looked like a wet tennis ball. The way it just kind of goes like fluffy. The grass looked like that. It didn't look like it normally looks. So it's probably played a part.
And it was inconsistent. There were certain parts of the pitch where it was kind of zipping, and then other parts where it was getting stuck a bit. So it almost felt like it was a bit of a lottery as to... I mean, you look at it, it had like different colours and shades and shit going on the pitch. It was a bit weird, like.
Yeah. And in that first half, Brownie, like I didn't think the Diaz through the middle thing worked very, very well at all. He was dropping too deep, and we were getting the ball in wide positions quite a lot, but there was never really anybody in the middle. And when they didn't have the ball, they kind of sunk into this back five anyway, and the midfielders dropped in as well. And there wasn't really that much down for us in those attacking positions, but we did create a couple of chances.
I think we struggled a bit because there's not many teams now in the modern game who play with a back three, is there? I mean, is there anyone else in the league who plays with a back three? I can't
Some of
think
them occasionally do it, like Brentford do it time to time.
Rare though, isn't it?
Brighton do it now and again, but yeah.
I think we struggled a little bit to kind of understand what was going on with there. So as an example, like I mentioned this during the game in the chat, like we know what Gakpo's trademark move is, don't we? Like a big diagonal gets played to him, he'll drop his shoulder, cut inside. But if you think about playing against the back three, if you're doing that against the wing back or even the right-sided centre half, and then you're coming inside, there's two more centre halves there waiting for you. So usually you do it against a full-back, and then you 1v1 against a right-sided centre half who's got a cover, meaning you can slide the ball into the striker or whatever. But you can't do that, especially against a team who were just sitting in with five. So it was almost like completely nullified him. That was one thing. And just in general, they just literally sat in there. They had no interest whatsoever in doing anything, I thought, when you watched it. They were like, we're happy not to get bummed here. That they turned up with that kind of mindset, and if we can get anything on the break, then we'll take it. So, but it's not like we shouldn't be used to that, though. I mean, the shape might be slightly different, but a lot of teams who come to Anfield do the same thing, don't they? So you'd like to think we'd have a little bit more creativity. But go back to them two chances. They are huge chances when you watch them back. And the Maka one especially, that's the kind of thing you want to do when you're playing against a back, like a three. It's all about late runs from midfield and timing the ball in. It's a really good ball in, I think, from Mao.
Yeah.
And then he's caught it really well as well. That's just unlucky. That, as I said earlier, like the goalkeeper didn't know much about that. It just hit his foot. He set himself, tried to make himself big, and it just hits his foot. That could quite easily go through his legs and to goal. So I think it was very much a case of a team coming, sitting in, trying to frustrate you, and we kind of played into the hands a little bit. The Curtis point that we made earlier was a big thing for me, though. It was like having the one less player on the pitch. He literally contributed nothing for me while he was on, like nothing. The way like sometimes somebody won't have a good game and you'll be like, okay, they're trying to do the thing, but it's not quite coming off. He literally, for me, was doing nothing. Am I being harsh? He literally was floating around the game.
Yeah, I don't think
playing little 5-yard balls, like not contributing to the game whatsoever. Like
it was
I think about the other
lads,
they contributed really well. Sorry, mate, go ahead.
No, just on the point with Curtis, it was frustrating to me because Mainu was pretty much man-marking Gravenberch for a lot of that first half. And Curtis was the available man that we had. So there were a lot of times when the ball would be played forward to him, and he did have that space to turn and run into, and was just really ineffectual with it. Because, I felt in those situations more often than not, he was the free man.
He was taking too long on the ball, and he was usually going past the first player, but then he took that long to hold him off and turn that a second player was just coming in and taking it off him. He didn't really contribute anything. It's just, and as I say, I thought he'd be great in that position, and I don't think he has been. I think he's better when he plays like deeper. The number 10's not really. It's not worked. It's not worked very well for him, which is why I think I want to see Harvey there. Well, Dom'll probably be back because he's not injured. He was just sick, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So hopefully he's back soon. But with it being the cup, I think we might see Harvey playing there anyway. I actually like the idea of. I know I only did that because we were chasing the game, but I like the idea of Jota playing behind a forward. But I don't know if that's something that's gonna work if you start.
We only do
like
that really when we're chasing, don't we? We did
like
against Fulham, didn't we?
Yeah.
Even though we were down to 10 men, he came on and he played almost as a 10, didn't he?
See, I thought that was working well today, and then as soon as we got to 2-1, I thought we were fucking shit. After we got ahead, we just stopped playing.
Because that was the time, wasn't it? To really,
we were doing okay. We got the momentum back. We got the lead, and then we just stopped and let United come back into it, and they looked more dangerous than us at that point. But we just totally stopped attacking. It was so frustrating to watch.
Dave, what did you make of Gakpo's chance in the first half?
So I agree with you, and you said he should have took it on his left foot, but I also don't think it was that bad a decision to go with his right foot. But if you're going with your right foot, you've got to do better than that. It's not that difficult a chance, even with your right foot. But the risk that you run, if you go with your right foot in that situation, you're always running the risk that you catch it with the outside of your foot and it bends away.
The problem for me with that is if you go with your right foot, you're flinging your foot at it. You don't have any kind of control with your body over where the ball's going. Because the ball's to the left and your right foot comes across your body, it is literally just a flick, and it's a little bit of luck then. Whereas if you go with the left side of your body, you can use your hips, you can use your shoulders, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? To clip it over the goalie, and you've got control over where it's going. You don't if you use your right foot.
Yeah, I
thought he made the wrong decision with it.
I think the reason why you may go with your right foot is just purely getting your shot away that little bit quicker.
Yeah, doing it earlier. Yeah,
with the keepers coming out at you, and it's well, forget it away quick and just flick it over him. But you could have flicked it over him with your left foot as well. I do think he should have gone with his left, but it wasn't an egregious decision to go with his right. But if you're going to do that, you've got to score. It was just a bad finish.
Yeah.
Big moment as well, as you say, if that goes in.
Yeah, it changes everything, doesn't it? Because their heads go down and all of a sudden they're en route to another bumming again. And it's the same old story for Man United. And, the longer the game went on, the more they grew in confidence. And, Brownie, do you give them much credit today? Because I thought they were well worth the points, certainly, and probably you can make an argument that they deserved the 3. No, but I thought they were well organised, and I thought they ran a lot more than I expected them to. The midfield pair and Fernandes, they were kind of at it quite a lot, and they harried us and didn't really give us time on the ball. And the midfield battles were quite hotly contested, I thought.
I just think they're getting credit for not being shit, Chris. That's the frustrating thing for me. Even after the game, you've got fucking Fernandes and Amarin coming out and going, "Oh, this just makes me more angry that we've been really poor in the other games." I'm gonna say he could have lost that game 4-1 if we'd have took our chances. The other games that you've played, maybe the other teams took the chances. I just think it's fucking nonsense. It comes back to my point at the start about narrative and preconception going into the game. Just because everybody thought we had absolutely hammered them, the moment that they actually play okay, people are going to overstate what they did in the game. I wasn't at all impressed with them. I just think it was more about what we did or didn't do as opposed to what they did. I think we were a little bit sloppy. We weren't quite at our level, and that allowed them not to get battered. Simple as that.
See, I agree with most of that, but I think that's the best they've played all season. Now, it's a low bar, admittedly, and I'm not saying they were anything special or impressive or anything, but that's the best I've seen them play all season, and it's other than even including the Forest game, I think that's the worst we've played at home. I know, like the Forest
And we
game,
still should have won. That's the point.
Yeah, but I don't think we deserve to win it. I know, like, maybe you see we're having clearer chances. It didn't feel like that watching it. I don't think we deserve to lose it either. I wouldn't go that far. But
I just think emotion comes into it, though,
it does.
Dave. That's my
I
point
said that
about
at the very start.
like what everybody thinks going into
might
it.
be way off. But I thought they played as well as they possibly could, because they're not very good. We know that. And we were way off it. But that's the only way that we were not going to win this game comfortably, by the way, is if we didn't really turn up and they gave it like their best performance. That was the only way they were not going to lose. And that's kind of what happened, because I just thought we were way off it, what we would normally be. And they were much better than I thought they'd be. Yeah.
Well, I thought
not saying
Amorim,
much because they're shite, but they were all right today.
I thought Amorim won the coaching battle today. If you look at those two coaches, they were the ones who had a game plan and executed it as well as they could. Like, we certainly didn't, I don't think. Like, they got themselves organised. They actually got men behind the ball. They weren't easy to run through. And they attacked the right areas when they came forward in terms of exposing our weaknesses and created a lot of chances. And I think that was pretty much how they probably drew it up, really. If they were coming into the game trying to think of by some miracle they could come out with 3 points.
So I expected the second half Slot to do as usual, identify what we're doing wrong, how to fix it, make some changes, and then I thought the second half, because the first half wasn't good. But I was relaxed about it because I thought, yeah, he'll fix it. And I think the second half was worse. I thought United did much more in the second half than they did in the first half. So, whatever changes were made at half time, like tactical tweaks, it didn't really have the desired effect, did it?
No. And of course, Brownie conceding that goal so quickly after half time, when we do expect us to sort of come out and improve, it was a sort of double blow, really. And we've already talked about the goal and what a bad one it was to give away, but good finish, I suppose. But
I mean, you don't expect a centre half to finish like that, do you? That's one of the big things that I guess to come out of it. We've already spoke about how Fernandes is allowed to just go inside. I don't think you can blame anyone other than Trent on that goal, honestly. I really don't. Like a lot of the time, you look at it from a coach and you're like, stop things at source. And, you know, their most dangerous player going inside on his strong foot, just don't let him do it. Simple as that. You've got to just close that gap off and force him to go outside. The moment you don't do that, you're leaving yourself open for anything to happen. But even then, you don't expect like that fucking midget to fucking turn into Marco van Basten, do you, and fucking smash it in like that. It was a good finish, to be fair. It was a really good finish, yeah. Mm-hmm. Like at first I thought, could Ali have done a little bit better? And then you watch it back, I mean, there's a hell of a lot of power in the strike, and it's just a good goal. You just have to hold your hands up sometimes and say it's a good finish.
Could he have done better on the second one? Because me and John both thought he could, but we've not seen replays of it. At the time, when the shot was going towards goal,
I like slow motion, didn't
I wasn't like, oh no, this is going in. I thought, oh, Alisson's going to save that, and then he didn't.
No, I think when it's coming across the goal like that, and a goalkeeper will kind of guard the near post, won't they? When the ball's out wide, so then when the cross
I've not
comes
seen
in,
it back. I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, I don't think so. They start shuffling, and then it's a bit lap of the gods a little bit, I think.
And of course, that exposes us to the worst sound in the history of football, which is their end celebrating. Ranks. Yeah, they're fucking just the worst, aren't they? And that's actually the first time I've actually heard the away fans at all this year, really, like either singing or I'm not sure whether it's the design of the new stand or whatever, but I just don't really tend to hear them anymore. But for some reason, that horrendousness permeates a little. Partly because of how quiet we were, I think, as well. Yeah. No excuse for that on our part, really, is there? Like, if you want to, we're top of the league. Arsenal and Chelsea have both dropped points yesterday. We're playing probably definitely our biggest rivals historically. Like, just why haven't we shown up there and given the team a little bit more of encouragement? If we want to talk about how lackluster the players are, then we have our role to play as well today, and we didn't do it.
No, I do think the weather played a big part in it, though.
Yeah.
Rightly or wrongly, I'm not saying it's justified, but I do think it did.
Do you think a lot of people woke up this morning almost expecting the game wouldn't go ahead? It was a little bit like...
Hoping it wouldn't go ahead. Looking
Can't
back
be
at it
arsed
now, I'm
leaving
like,
now.
I wish it had been called off and play it again another time. We probably win, but no. The good thing is Arsenal dropped points yesterday, so it's not really done any damage. It's just we've missed an opportunity to increase the gap, really.
Yeah, and when it comes down to it, all we need to do is match people's results anyway.
Yeah.
So as long as we keep
Just
matching
them.
the results, then we'll be all right. But I think thankfully, Dave, we got back into the game pretty quickly because it would have been very, very fraught and miserable sort of last half an hour or so if we hadn't responded when we did. And that man again, Cody, he's coming up with some important goals for us. And this was another one today, and a good finish it was as well.
So that was an absolutely brilliant goal. I give him all the credit in the world. It was a great goal. I'll be honest, a few minutes before, I was saying to John, fucking get him off. Because he shit out of a tackle. Like, not even a tackle. Like, Mo had gone for the ball, and there's a loose ball was going towards him, and it looked like 50-50 at worst, maybe a 60-40. And their player comes steaming in, and he seemed to slow down when he seen like the United player and wanted no part of it. And I was fucking fuming because he'd done absolutely nothing up to that point anyway. It wasn't that he was bad. He just wasn't really the way the team was playing. We weren't really no one was doing anything, and he was part of that. Like he wasn't really like offering much of a threat. Not much was happening. Same with Diaz. He was just not really having any impact on the game. So at this point, I'm ready for him to come off. And then he goes and does that, and it's an absolutely fantastic goal, brilliant. He took it so well. But when did the subs came on straight after that?
Immediately, I wondered whether he was going off. When he changed
I was
mind,
thinking that because
yeah.
the only thing I wasn't sure of with the subs, I'm like, so it's either going to be Diaz and Gakpo, or it's going to be Gakpo and Jones, and Diaz is going to go on the left, and we're going to go with Jota behind Darwin, because you could see those two were stripped and ready to come on.
Yeah.
And then Gakpo scores that goal. And I'm actually, at that point, I'm like, you know what? Sit them down for 5 minutes. You don't need to make that change now.
I was that as well.
There's no need to do it because we're going to be on a big high now. Gakpo's going to be like feeling 10 foot tall. So if you were planning on bringing him off, imagine if you sub him after he's just scored that goal. You don't do that. So as much as obviously like I'm wanting to see the subs come on because I felt like we needed it, once we scored, I'd be, and this is how it usually is. Managers usually just say to players, stick your chacky top back on for 5 minutes. Let's see how this plays out. But we still went ahead and made the changes. But I do wonder if
I think he's flipped it. I think it was 50-50.
I think Curtis was coming off anyway.
100%, yeah.
And Jota was going to be playing like that, like number 10 role.
Yeah.
So I think that was what was going to happen. But I think it was going to be Diaz going to the left and Gakpo coming off. And then I think he switched it because of the goal.
Yeah, which is fair enough. I don't have a problem with that.
As because I would have just sat them down for 5 minutes and said, like, let's see how this goes while we've got momentum and that.
Brownie, you said that earlier on that you thought Slot had made a sort of couple of coaching mistakes today. Do you think not starting Jota was one of them? Because he's been back now a few weeks. He's been picking up half an hour here and there. He's been impactful when he's come on. He's scored goals. In my mind, I had today sort of circled as the game where he would come back in as the centre forward again.
No, for me, I wanted Diaz to play because I wanted to see that if he's dropping in, what are they going to do when they've got a back three? Are they going to send one of the centre halves into midfield when he drops in, and then with little gaps? And he didn't. That was one of the big tactical things. You literally saw they were just happy for him to go in and take the ball and turn, because like when you play a back three, you can't. There's no gaps there. If you just stay there, there's a back three quite compact, and the striker drops in to get the ball, then you're looking for a little bit of magic to create something, and we didn't have that. I mean, how many times in the first half were we kind of around their box, and there was almost like 6 or 7 of them just in the line, and we were playing these little floaty straight balls, which they were just defending dead easy. That's what I mean when I said earlier that we didn't seem to know how to play against like the back three, because I don't think we've done it a lot this year. Like most teams don't play with it. And that was the kind of struggle. So I had no problem with Diaz starting because I wanted to test out how they would react to that kind of player up there who's going to drop in and play more like midfield. So I didn't have a problem with it. In hindsight, would it have been any different with Jota up there? Probably not, because they weren't leaving any space ready for him to run into. So either just being stood there marked, not really influencing the game at all. He'd have probably not really had much of a kick. I mean, you could argue if he's up there occupied in the centre halves, then maybe the midfielders have got a bit more space to do their thing, but I don't think it would have made much of a difference.
He does drop off though, Jota. He moves
he does a little
lot.
bit. It depends what his role is. When he came on, he did it because he's playing behind Darwin, and so you have to drop into that space. But when you're playing as the 9, he's not dropping off as much as Diaz, is he? That's
not
like
as
a different
much,
thing.
but I still think he poses a different set of problems.
Yeah, he's a little bit more... If he'd have dropped off and they don't follow him, Diaz was happy to just pop little passes back off into midfield, whereas Jota would just get his head down and just drive at you, wouldn't he? And think, well, hang on, I'm just going to run through you. So you could argue possibly that might have been a tactic that would have worked. But I didn't have a massive problem with it, Chris, no.
Yeah. Just on the subject of Jota as well, Dave, it's almost like I saw the ball hit the net and I was absolutely shocked when it didn't, when he was coming across goal and he pretty much had the whole goal to aim at, and he hit it straight at Onana like in stoppage time. Oh god, I was convinced he was going to score there. I'm really, really surprised he didn't.
Yeah, so was I. I thought that was going in. Wasn't that when, after the save was made, it went out to Bradley, and that was when he then like skinned the fullback and then he had the shot. Yeah. It was just after that, wasn't it? That's that little flurry where Onana made the 2 saves.
Yeah.
Normally, like they fly in when it's Jota, and he normally doesn't even have to hit them that cleanly. Normally he'll just like bobble one into the corner or something, but you know he's led at that one and gone straight down the keeper's throat. But just summed up like a frustrating day, really.
Yeah.
But like I say, I just felt like once we got to 2-1, we stopped playing. That was the frustrating thing for me, really, was we had them there at 2-1, and that was the time when you go and step on the throat, get the third. And I tell you what we need to talk about, because I was absolutely fucking bewildered by this. This is at 2-1, isn't it? So we're 2-1 up, and we got the free kick on the edge of the box, and fucking Mo took it.
Oh, unbelievable.
Right, all like, in all seriousness, he's the last player in our team I would let anywhere near a free kick, because you can 100% guarantee it's a floaty over the bar. Every free kick he's took's been exactly the same. Why is Trent deferring to him and saying, okay, you have it? Trent needs to go, no, I'm having a fucking stinker here, but I'm going to fucking bury this free kick and nobody's going to be talking about that anymore. I can't believe Trent let him take that free kick.
Yeah, I don't get that either. I was almost thinking,
unless instructions come from the bench, maybe like you've said, let Mo take it, in which case whoever made that decision needs fucking firing it off to the moon in a cannon, because I'd have Alisson come up and take a free kick before I let Mo take one. I'm not even kidding. He's the last person in the team I would let take a free kick, because you know exactly where it's going to go, because every single time he's took a free kick, that's what's happened. It's just gone over the bar.
So the way that one went, like, I'm stood in the living room and I'm saying to y'all, oh, Trent's been fucking woeful today, but he's bending this rather than...
I said it to John.
I jumped off my seat and I literally walked up to the telly and I pointed rather stop going at. I said, Trent's putting it right there. And then Mo fucking steps up and does it. And she looks at me like that and I'm like, oh, you fucking done me there.
I couldn't believe it.
Fuming. Absolutely fuming. The only thing in my mind was with the, like, you know, the way sometimes the first player runs over it to try and ice the goalie a little bit, and they're thinking they didn't think he was going to take it, so maybe he'd be flat-footed, you know, but that's overthinking it. There's no chance.
He could be fucking with his back to goal, like lying on the floor.
Wouldn't have mattered
because it's going in the cop. We all know where it's going.
I know. That was diabolical, that. Really bad.
But yeah, that's really infuriating, because it was 2-1 at the time, and that was the chance to just put it out of sight. I'm saying it's a chance, it's a free kick, it's a low percentage chance, but I just felt this is Trent's moment here to just, you know, put everything else behind him, score. You know what I actually said to John? I said Trent's going to score here. I said, but I'm not sure I actually want him to, because he'll end up doing something that's going to really fucking wind me up.
Oh man, we'd be all right with it now, wouldn't we? Fucking hell.
Well, pointing at himself saying, why me, or always me, and all that shit.
Yeah, it would have been something. And you cheeky bastard.
Yeah.
Why do you think he didn't then? Why do you think he did defer? Do you think it's just like, this isn't my day, you have a go, or I don't need any more?
They're not wired like that. Top level players are not wired like that.
Well, is it like a mentality thing for him? Bench.
I think he may have sent instructions to let Mo take it.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Yeah, I don't see, because when does Trent ever give up a free kick? He always takes it. Even times when you think, well, let Dom have one or let someone else have a go, let Maka have a go. Generally, like if Trent's on the pitch, Trent takes the free kick. Mo's usually just there as like a decoy or standing there with his hand over his mouth, just like talking.
Genuine question: has Mo ever scored a free kick for us?
Not for us, no.
I don't think he has.
Has he ever scored one in his life? Is the bigger question.
I mean, he might not take a lot of them, but like the point is, like Trent scored loads of free kicks for us, so like surely he's the one to do it. I just don't get it.
And it was set up for it because he'd been so bad.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah, I just genuinely was staggered that they let Mo take that.
So we do allow a little bit of malaise to creep into the play again and give them a little bit of impetus, and the equaliser does kind of come out of absolutely nothing though, and it's one of those situations, Brownie, where you think we should. There's not necessarily anything that sticks out as being awful to me anyway, to my eye, but you just want us to do better on that front. It was too easy for them.
Yeah, what that 1-1 do you mean, or when we go 2-1 up? I don't think we've spoken about the second one, have we?
The pen.
Yeah, I think when it went 1-1 for me, there was only one winner. I felt like we'll get the next goal, and then it was just a case of can you get the third one to kill it. Obviously, we got the second one relatively quickly, didn't we? What did you think about that on the handball? Like, I think it is handball. It's a pen. But I'm always a little bit uncomfortable when, you know, it happens dead quick, doesn't it? His arm shouldn't be there, so you can't complain that it's a penalty.
I didn't even see it hit his hand from where I was sat.
It was deflected off someone though, wasn't it?
It was a little flick header, I think, wasn't it? And then it hit his arm's got no right to be there, so we can't complain. Like, but the argument is that header probably would have went on target, would have been a comfortable save, but he's kind of stopped it from going on goal. So
I've not seen it. I don't like it. All I can say is, yeah, it's flicked off someone, so you say his arm shouldn't be there. But if he thinks somebody else is like winning a header, he's not worried about where his arm is. Yeah. Because he's not thinking the ball's coming to him, and then someone flicks it, and then all of a sudden it hits you. Like, as I said at the start, like, it's not even about whether we think it's a penalty or not. The reason why it's lucky is because they are not given those. There's, like, you can check the stats, and it's 5 or 6 penalties for handball, I think. Because when I said, like, last time, that was the 3rd penalty all season for any team for handball. And I think there's been a couple more since. But if it's 5, we've had 2 of them. So you can just imagine how fucking Arsenal fans are, like, how they're, like,
the title now.
And especially after, like, they get a penalty given against them yesterday, and then we
What did you guys make of that? Arsenal penalty yesterday?
So that one, I look, if you look at that incident and go, is that a penalty? I'm like, fuck no, that's not a penalty, no way. But then if you say, well, is it a foul? If that was outside the box, are they giving a free kick for that? And I'd be, yeah, they definitely will give a free kick for that. So by the letter of the law, that is a foul. But when you look at it, you just think, no, not a penalty. But that's not to say it's the wrong decision. It doesn't sit right when you look at it.
See, I don't like this notion almost that you've almost hinted at it yourself there, Dave, that it needs to be more to be a penalty. I don't think that's right. I think a foul's a foul. But I'm going to contradict myself now. When I saw that, I was like, fuck off.
That's what I mean.
You can't give that. That's how I felt.
That's
my
your initial
reaction
instinct when you see that. Is like, no, that's never a pen. But when you actually break it down, technically, by the letter of the law, that is a penalty.
If you remove the fact that it's the head, if it's the foot, it's always going to be a foul, isn't it? If you get there just ahead of the defender,
unless it's like Doku or McAllister.
Yeah. But just in general, if 2 players go for a ball and somebody gets a foot there first, do you know what I mean? And then you get clipped. Of course, you're going to say it's.
But that's why it feels more harsh.
It just looks a bit weird when it's the head as well.
Because he kind of has to go for that, and he just doesn't quite get it, and then there's a clash of heads. But
it's a similar thing with goalies. I make this point all the time, and you always tell me I'm wrong. Like, if you go up with the goalie and get your head to it, and he doesn't get there, and he wants to punch it, and he punches you in the face, that's a fucking foul. You always tell me, no, it's different with the goalie. I'm like, it's fucking not.
It depends. I mean,
no, if you go for the ball and you miss it and you punch somebody in the face, that's a fucking foul. It's simple
if you
as
punch them
that.
in the
It's the
face,
same
but
thing.
sometimes like they'll punch them on the top of the head because they've just missed the ball, and those ones always feel harsh to me. If you come out and just fucking punch someone in the face, then that's a
But
penalty.
alright, punch him in the head. It's the same thing.
Those glancing blows on the top of the head when like the player just gets the head to it. Now those ones always feel harsh.
No, I'm talking about like egregious ones where you wipe the player out.
Well,
like, they
the
never give
ones,
them against the goalies. They never do.
They have given a few recently, and then I always think
they've started to. It started creeping in.
You know where it started creeping in? When Anana got away with that one against Wolves.
The Wolves one.
And that was so bad that they didn't give it. It feels like they've started viewing those a bit differently since then.
And so they should. That's a right change for me in the game, 100%.
But I don't blame Arsenal fans for being pissed off over that. But I've not seen the videos, but like I've read that like West Ham fans have been posting clips of a penalty Arsenal got against them. That was pretty much the same. And it's like, well, what were Arsenal fans saying about that one?
Life comes at you fast and all that. Yeah. In terms of the pen itself, like I thought Onana should have saved it. I don't think it was a great pen at all. He got his hands to it and he was pure noodle arms there. Just went right through it. Not a great pen.
I didn't fancy him to score. I thought he was
I never do.
I never do.
I wish he wasn't taking him, but that's
Paul's
never
just
got
to be fuming listening to this pod, by the way. Trent getting all this stick, Curtis getting stick. Mo, don't fancy Mo scoring the pen. He's got to be fucking screaming at this, isn't he? Fuck you, Paul.
Yeah, but at least Monty will be pleased. Hey, Chris, Monty blamed Mo for the first goal, you know. No, we're all like going on about Trent in the first goal, and Stu's like, yeah, but I think we need to look at Mo's role in that. He's just let Martinez just run off him. I'm like, yeah, because that's what he's told to do. He doesn't run back in those situations.
Well, I guess you could make an argument that he should have been stronger to just take the ball into feet there and hold it up. I don't think he knew that Martinez was behind him. So
it was a shit pass, to be honest.
It was a shit pass, and it's a pass that shouldn't have been played in the first place. Even if that's a great pass, it's not the one you want to play, really, is it? Like,
yeah, but if you watch it back, Martinez like nips in, wins the ball, plays it out wide, makes a run in behind, runs offside, and then comes back and recycles his run. It's got nothing to do with Mo after that point. But of course, Monty's like fucking fuming with him.
So we kind of got messed with. Our chronology has been all over the place in this one, but it's one of those games, right? 2-1, you think we're going to go on to win the game. There's a couple of little sniffs that we don't quite capitalise on, and they do get level. And I was trying to ask you this before, Brownie, but I don't think I conveyed it very well. It's not necessarily something you look at the equaliser, that it's something that was glaring. There were no massive errors, but I think you just want us to do better in that situation and kind of snuff out the danger. It was far too easy for them, and it was kind of just a standard goal in the end. Yeah,
I think what happened, I can't remember why it happened. Did Trent make a mistake in the build-up to it? But basically, Kanate ended up at right back and Trent ended up at centre half, didn't he?
Yeah.
And Ibu, for me, didn't do enough to like close the space and try and stop the cross. He was kind of delaying, but the whole point of delaying is that once you then slow the attacker down, you then nip in and try and close the space so you can stop the cross or win the ball. And he's too passive with it. And then when the ball comes in, Trent's not centre half. You can't have a go at Trent because he's not, that he's not used to being in the centre of the pitch trying to defend that kind of situation. Watching it back, Robbo probably should have done better. He lets him nip in front of him. He makes that kind of forward run, where they nip across the front here. And he's a little bit on his heels, Robbo. And you see his reaction as well. I think he feels the same about himself as well, because he checks his shoulder. So when you watch the replay, he does the right thing. He scans, he sees he's there, and he should have reacted a little bit quicker, and he just gets caught a little bit on his heels. But I don't think there's anything massive there, where it's a huge error or anything. It's just like two or three things we could have done a little bit better.
Another example of him being just a fraction off.
I would say, but you're going to fucking slag me off.
No, I'm just asking a question. I'm not saying like he's finished or anything like that. I'm just saying...
Neither did I, by the way. I just said keep an eye on it.
I've
you're
not
talking
had a go
1%
at you for
super. You did.
I've not had a go at you for
the
that.
The first pod after you said Robbo was shit, fucking Brownie, fucking Will.
Maybe I'm messing around with that, but I've referenced loads of times when we spoke about Robbo. I've said, Brownie put us onto this months ago. I've given you credit for pointing it out, so stop fucking crying it in. So like,
I'm gonna keep grabbing
I'm just saying about that one, and I haven't seen it back, so I don't know. But just the way you've described it,
I just think he's on his heels a little bit.
Mate. I'm like, see, is that another case of that wouldn't have happened 2 years ago? Or
mate, he's
like
100. He's 100% not at the level that he was a couple of years ago, and that's not even a massive over the top criticism. Like a 95% Andy Robertson's still one of the best left backs in the league. I was simply pointing out that he's starting to show them signs where you start dipping a little bit. That's natural. Is he 30 now, Robbo?
Yeah, but it's not the age, it's the mileage.
He's got miles on the clock. Like, how many times have we been at Anfield watching him fucking sprint past Sadio and whoever else, like, who else playing on the left wing, you know what I mean? Like,
we ran him into the ground,
that adds
really.
up. It adds up, and the way that Klopp had them playing, I mean, fucking hell, like that was like one of the massive... Yeah, and all these like just shuttle runs and constantly sprinting forward and back. I mean, I would imagine the stats of him doing sprints would be off the charts. You know what I mean? You can't keep doing that over a prolonged period without it catching up to you at some point. I still think he's fine. I don't have a massive problem with him, but I do think, possibly it is another example where he's just 1% off his game, and at the top level that makes a big difference, doesn't it?
And I thought it was a pretty tough afternoon for him overall as well. Like I just don't think he was one of many players who didn't have a great day at the office. But you know, like when they get back to 2-2, all of a sudden you start worrying again, don't you? And like I don't think we were good. I don't think we responded well enough at 2-2. There was the chance that the header. Tell us about that, Brownie, because the header from Verge, it looked to me like he was kind of ducking down into it, and maybe he could have took a touch and finished it with his feet or side-footed it or something. Or... No,
I think the headers. I think it's right that he went with his head. It was one of them now where when a cross comes in and a player wins a flick on, you've got like a really small amount of time basically to adapt to it and to react. Like if it just floats across and it's in the air, you can judge that and you can time your run, you can do all kinds of different things. When it takes that little flick, you're almost unsighted a little bit. But even having said that, you watch it back and you think, fucking hell, you've got to score that. That was a huge chance, like absolutely massive chance. I think if he's right to go with his head, he just didn't get much contact on it, and he's obviously put it straight down the keeper's throat, hasn't he?
Because he's only about 4 yards out, wasn't he?
Oh,
like
yeah,
4 or 5 yards out.
Close. I just think it's a reaction thing for me. That explains why he's not like powered it in.
Did you see that stat? Like I think we're the worst in the league on corners.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. And that video that came out this morning when Slot was watching previous games against United.
He went, oh, look, Virgil can score.
Yeah, when Virgil scored from a corner in the 2-0, and Slot just kind of, his eyebrows went up, and he said, oh, so Virgil can score from corners. So it's obviously
we've missed some chances off corners this year, though, haven't we? Mm-hmm. What was the game like recently where Virgil should have scored twice? Who was that against? He put two wide. No, three. We said he could have had a hat-trick, remember? We were on
Palace away, wasn't it?
No, it was at Anfield. Like, second half, he flicked one over and he rolled end. First half, he missed two gilt-edge ones right in front of the goal and he put them wide.
Brighton?
No. I don't know, I haven't got a fucking clue. You could literally go through the whole...
I actually remember the headers. I just don't remember...
I remember the headers, I don't know against, same thing.
Was it City?
Was it Fulham? Might have been Fulham.
He put one wide against City, didn't he? Remember? Like, he rose like a fucking salmon and then free header and he
the one I'm thinking is the one where he missed it and he was just shouting, how, you know, like he was fuming with himself.
It was City. It was a City game.
Yeah, it was a City.
Was it?
Yeah. I'm sure he could have had a hat-trick against City.
Yeah, maybe that's it, yeah. Nice. But it's not like we don't carry a threat. It's all... I think the thing for us is we haven't got enough reward for what you would expect from us off corners. Like the delivery, generally speaking, is decent. And we have players there who you expect to score some goals. We're not quite doing it, are we?
Speaking of corners, did you see what Brighton did yesterday against Arsenal?
No, I didn't
they've obviously been reading the forum because like people on the forum have been saying this for a while about Arsenal and the set pieces. I didn't watch the first half, so I don't know if they did it then. Like I watched the second half and I think Arsenal only got one corner, but Brighton left three players on the halfway line, and Arsenal had went man for man with the three, and then they had a fourth player in front. And when you looked in the penalty area, There's like hardly anyone in the box. Now, what the secret to what they're doing is they have that many players in the box just pushing and pulling until
and
somebody
everybody
gets
sends
free.
everyone back.
Yeah, and so like with the scored, like John was saying, like the 2 goals they got against United, virtually everyone was in the 6-yard box, and United just couldn't deal with it. And Brighton have done that, and it's the one corner they had, they put it in, and the keeper just came and caught it because he's not got loads of people blocking him. And I think that's something that other teams will probably look at now and go, okay, we need to do this. Now, Arsenal will then probably come up with a counter to that and say, well, if they're going to do this, we're going to do that.
To work on
that's the thing. It might slow them down for the next few weeks if teams start doing that. Look at what Brighton did. So if you take away their set pieces and you take Saka out as well,
they don't have much else, do they?
No, that's really going to have an impact on them. So hopefully, like, people are paying attention to that.
They've lost that lad who came in and played really well in the first half last night, so haven't they?
They're having so many like setbacks like that it's natural to think, you know what, this is just not going to happen for us. And that's why, like, if you turn the screw on them a bit more, they will get to a point where they'll think, it's gone, forget it. That's why today was like really important to do that, and it's frustrating that we haven't.
Has today, Dave, shaken your faith that we're going to go on and win it? Like, are you less confident after what you saw today?
I suppose I'd say less confident. Yeah, not much, but it would take a tiny bit of me confidence away. But at the same time, it's not. If City were chasing us, I'd be thinking, oh my God, what have we done? We've just dropped 2 points. They're going to come roaring back at us. I just don't see it with Arsenal. And maybe if Saka was fit and they were flying, maybe I'd be more worried about it. But like them dropping points at Brighton, I feel like that's just normal. You know, we're back in a normal title race now where you're not going to have to get like 95, 96 points to win it. It's not like that anymore. Teams at the top are gonna have draws and stuff. So we're gonna have some draws, but it's not like you're panicking because you think Arsenal's gonna go on this mad run and reel off 12 wins. This is how it's going to be for Arsenal as well, like what's happened yesterday. Like, so they've dropped 2 points at Brighton. They've got Wolves away. They'll probably win, but it's not a game that you think it's impossible that they won't. You know, they've got Tottenham. It's a derby game. Anything can happen. They'll probably win because Spurs have got absolutely no defenders and the third-choice goalkeeper. But what I'm saying is, like, you look at fixtures, they've got Villa coming up soon. You're like, well, that's not a guaranteed win because they're not. It's not like Man City and Liverpool who were like winning every single game in the second half of the season. That's not how it's going to be. We're not going to do that. But they certainly aren't either. And we have got that gap. So, and they've still got to come to Anfield, which, after today, that's where I would have a little bit less confidence. Is Arsenal coming to Anfield? I'm like, well, if we fucking play like that against United, we could be shit against Arsenal as well. You just don't know. So I wouldn't want them within, like, sniffing distance. Like, when they do come to Anfield, I'd want to be like, well, hopefully we'd have it won by then because it's right near the end of the season, isn't it? But it's not really shaking me confidence. It's dented it a touch. But the main thing for me is like, well, who's going to catch us? Even if we do drop a few more points, they're going to drop points as well.
Yeah. What about you, Brownie?
Similar. The thing for me today, like, if you look back at our recent results, so we conceded 3 against Newcastle, we've conceded 2 against Fulham, 3 at Tottenham, and then 2 today. Yeah, we drew 3-0. No, we drew 3-0.
In my head, that was 2-2. I didn't realise it was 3-3.
Yeah, so 3 there, 2 against Fulham. You know, circumstances allow for that.
3 at Spurs.
3 at Spurs, and then 2 today. There's a slight concern that we're starting to ship more goals than we did earlier on in the season. That's the only thing to look out for me. I still think we're going to win the league. I think what Dave said spot on about Arsenal. It's the fact that we don't have City chasing us. You know, who's going to win 15 games in a row? I don't have any worry about Chelsea. They're all over the place with the consistency. It is literally just Arsenal, and they're in the position whereby it's a panic for them, innit? If they're not ahead in the game and chasing the game, it's just desperation from them. They have to win games. They've got to win, like, especially in the context of the last couple of years where they've gone close but missed out because, you know, a team's getting 90 odd points. We know how that feels. That catches up with you. and they're starting to get the injuries and that. The only one question mark would be about January, I guess. Do Arsenal have any money to spend with the whole PSR stuff? I don't know. Will they go and splash some money and try and have a final push and get the right kind of player that makes a difference? Probably not. I still think we'll win the league. I think we're in a really good position. The frustration with today is that they're not very good, and we clearly should have won the game. The other thing is it's early, innit? Do you know what I mean? I'd feel a lot better if there was 10 games to go and we're fucking 5 or 8 points ahead, rather than it's literally we're bang on halfway through now, aren't we? So it is still, there's a lot of football still to be played, but we just have to keep churning results out and we'll be alright.
I actually think the next 2 league games more or less decide it for us. If we get 6 points in these next 2 games, Forest away and Brentford away, I think it's good night. If we take 6 from that, the Arsenal need us to drop points in one or both of those games, I think, just to keep them interested and motivated. If we win both of them and they drop some points in the meantime, I think forget it, that's it.
Do we have any concerns with the Cup possibly being not a distraction but another game in terms of legs and that, or do we just make that many changes that it doesn't matter?
Well, the FA Cup game, we'll make a load of changes. I think we should go quite strong in the first leg at Spurs. I'd treat that like a Champions League game where you don't make loads of changes. I take it that seriously because we could win this in the first leg. I don't think we will. I've got a feeling it'll be like a close game, but it's a chance to, if you come away with like a 2 or 3-0 win there, and then you've got the second leg at Anfield, you can make changes for the second leg, can't you?
Is the Forest game midweek?
Yeah.
Just having a look at it.
Tuesday night.
Yeah, Tuesday night.
Week on Tuesday.
And what about Arsenal? Do they play the same night?
The day
Wednesday.
after.
Spurs Wednesday.
Right, okay. So we've
good
got
chance
the
for us, that, isn't it?
To screw even more. Yeah.
I mean, as disappointing as this afternoon was, at least we were spared that horrendousness of that Harry Maguire chance going in. I mean, thank God it fell to him and nobody else. It was an absolute howler of a miss, but my God, that would have been
the worst thing about that was the fact that we were on the attack, and I don't know who cleared it for them, but they had no idea where that was going.
It was a blind
no idea,
and he almost hit it straight to Darwin. We had like 4 players, and it just went past them and went to their player.
And it was complete desperation, and it lands perfectly at the lad's foot, and then suddenly you're like, oh shit, please no.
He may have been offside though, like a lot of people say.
I don't think he was. I've
off.
watched it back a few times, and I don't think he was.
It's close, it's close. But
I don't think.
Thankfully, it was Maguire.
I think we should all act, and the squad should act like that was onside, because that was such a warning for us that hopefully that'll give us a little bit of a boot up the ass going into the next couple of weeks, and because it could have been a lot worse. And a defeat there is hugely damaging. A point's not the worst thing in the world, but a defeat there, not just because you've surrendered another point, but psychologically, it just switches the narrative completely, doesn't it? Like, are Liverpool starting to choke, and is the pressure getting to them, and this kind of stuff. And
it would have been massive if we'd lost.
Yeah. So it's grateful for small mercies there.
In terms of what though, like the psychology, you mean? Because it's literally 1 point, isn't it?
Yeah, but no, the psychology and what it does for Arsenal as well.
Yeah.
Just the hope that it gives them, and the doubts that
gained
keep
the
in
point
with
kind
us.
of thing. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it would have made that much of a difference. It would have been just fucking horrible in terms of rivalry and everything. I don't think it would have made a massive difference in the table and title race. But
and that's another reason why, like in terms of the rivalry, that's another reason why there's so much frustration today, because after all the years we suffered of them being sort of dominant and us sort of chasing their shadows really, and more often than not coming out on the wrong end of it, like when we are this dominant and the gap between the sides is that big, you really do want to take those chances to take advantage of that and like really put one over on them. And
last few years, fuck
yeah, I know, but
like they never beat us 7-0. Do you know what I mean? Like
no,
4-0 and 5-0 at Anfield and
I'm just like greedy though, Brownie. I think I'm just greedy. I want to do it as often. I could do it every day if I had the option.
In a way, it's you could argue it's a good sign, because if you think about it, how many times did we get good results against them, or what we perceive to be good results, but they still won the league? You know what I mean? So when you're beating them kind of 7-0, and when we had a down season, that meant nothing at the end of it. So if we have to draw to the banks to win the league, I'll fucking take it. Thank you very much. All day.
Yeah. Nah, I still think when like the gap's as big as it is, the gulfing class between the teams, you should make it count. We've let them off the hook
as long as we win the league, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter, but in the moment it does. It matters today, and it'll matter for the next few days. In a couple of weeks, you know.
Until they lose their next game, where everyone's suddenly thinking they're going to be good again.
That makes it even worse. When they lose the next game, and it's like we fucking.
Do you want them to win the next game then?
No, but what I'm saying is that it makes it worse when they do lose the next game because
I'm going to enjoy it.
The next game's Arsenal away in the cup.
Yeah.
So they probably will lose.
I hope they both lose. Is that possible?
You know what? I want them out because I don't want to play them again. As shit as they are, I don't want to play them again because there's we battered them at Old Trafford, but last season played them 3 times. They were fucking shit, and we didn't beat them in any of them. We've not beaten them today. I want no more part of them. Like, and definitely want them out the cup. Don't want to play them. Fuck them for whatever reason. We just don't perform when we play them. We just can't like. I suppose it is in some ways. It is like when we were shit and they were really good, and we would somehow get results against them. It is like that, but
I'll take that.
It just shouldn't be. You know, it's frustrating that we're not putting.
Football's a bit weird like that, though, isn't it? It doesn't make sense sometimes, and I'd much rather be on this side of that than the other. What we've had in the past.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And any consolation is that point today moves them up to 13th, just one place above West Ham. And you think about the season that West Ham have had, torrid every week and absolutely twatted. To have been going into this game today beneath them was pretty fucking humbling. So
they'll still be crowing though, Chris. Like
of course they will. But let them crow. Like if this is all they have to crow about, then long may it fucking continue.
How the mighty have fallen.
Yeah.
Yep. Not bad.
Nice. Anything else you guys want to touch on today?
Nothing's jumping out at me, to be honest.
No.
All right. We have a quick look at Tuesday. I mean, Dave, you said that you would go with a relatively strong team with that. Your boy Darwin's done himself no favours by getting himself suspended with that.
He misses the Forest game in the league, though.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Why?
Why not Tuesday?
I think if you get a red card in the league, you miss the next game. Which if it's the League Cup, you miss that. But I think with bookings, it's different. Your 5th booking means you miss the next league game. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly sure that's how it works.
I thought somebody missed Southampton because they picked up too many bookings in the League Cup.
I don't know. I'm sure I read on this.
No, that was it Robbo because he got a red?
Oh, because a red card.
It's a red card's different. I'm sure this is Anfield said like it's the Forest game he misses, and that's what I thought it was.
Really don't get that.
That's actually okay because he would have played in the FA Cup game, and depending on what we want to do in terms of making changes, we might make like 4 or 5 changes or whatever for the League Cup. So maybe like he starts that one, and then you can play him in the cups, and then you've got the league game next week where.
So he plays both the cup games this week coming up, and then misses.
Yeah, he misses Forest next week. Yeah,
that's bizarre, isn't it?
Because it's different competitions, but the thing that doesn't make sense.
It was always domestic, though.
If you get a red card, you'd miss the league game. You'd miss the cup game. Sorry, but 5 bookings means you miss the league game. It's a bit weird. I don't really get the logic behind.
I think for all the listeners, what you need to take out of this is we don't really fucking know. We'll check.
I'm probably like 95% confident that I'm right on that.
That's why I'm saying we don't really know.
Fair enough. Branny, would you take the opportunity to just get people as much rest as possible, or are you focused on winning this competition?
A mix of the both. I think Dave's point about possibly getting the game one's a good one, especially, I mean, context is everything in it. We're playing Accrington Stanley next week, so everyone's getting a rest then anyway. Yeah. So if you feel like the energy levels allow you to put a full team out, then I absolutely would do it. Assuming Dom will come through his illness, he'll play. I'd get Connor straight in the team. No way you'd start doing daft stuff with Ibu. You'd get Quanta back in. but it wouldn't be making massive changes. Harvey needs a game, I think. He should play.
Definitely.
Endo for Gravenberch, or do you play
possibly?
Gravenberch?
No, possibly Endo. Yeah, I wouldn't be averse to that. I'd
Cleve?
go more down.
He'll definitely play. I
Yes,
think
Cleve,
it's already agreed.
I'd go down the 4 or 5 changes as opposed to 9, 10. If you know what I mean. That's what I'd probably be looking to do. And
Costas for Robbo.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think there's is there an argument that Costas should be playing anyway, or am I just completely mad? I think he's been really good this year, you know.
Robbo goes from like really good to a game like today, and it's not like he's bad every game. He's had some really good games lately, in amongst some.
So after the game today, like Carr's in the Sky Studio, and he turns round and he says Liverpool need to sign a fullback in January, and I'm thinking, here we go, he's going to go after Trent, and then he says they need a left back. And this is before they'd spoken about Trent, and I thought, fucking hell, read the room, will you? Like, that's not the fullback we want to talk about. And then he mentioned about Robbo dropping off, which is fair enough. And then he like really flippantly about Costas, he just said, and you know, he's done okay, but he's not good enough. And I was like, I think that's really harsh. I think he's been really good this year when he's playing. I don't look at Costas as being not good enough as a backup for us. No. I look at him as it's a conversation as to whether he should be starting.
I think it's something you address in the summer. You don't need to do it now. Costas and Robbo are fine. Well, I mean, look where we are.
Exactly.
We've got where we are with these players.
And Costas played a lot earlier in the season, don't forget, and he played really well.
That's why I just think it's a nonsense when people are saying about like making all these changes in January. And that includes like, sell Darwin and bring someone else in. Why? You know, these are things you deal with in the summer when you take stock of everything and the market's bigger, there's more players available, people you've been tracking, whatever. Those are decisions you do then. January is like either if an opportunity comes up that's too good to turn down on somebody you want anyway, then you do that.
That's a different thing though, isn't it? That's more to do with your strategy.
Yeah, or if like you've got an emergency. You know, loads of players injured in a certain position, and you're like, well, we need to do something. We're 6 points clear with a game in hand in the Premier League. We've won every single Champions League game. We're in the semis of the League Cup, and we've done this with Robbo and Costas as our left backs. Why do we need to do something in January?
I agree.
It's like we don't. With Carra. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I just think like it's a conversation for the summer, no question about it. And the problem is, Costas is fine as a backup. But the problem is, if you sign somebody, that makes either like them the backup or it makes Robbo the backup, and it's Costas.
Oh, you'd have to move one of them on.
Costas will be the one who probably has to move on, and it's not because he's not good enough. It's just because maybe Robbo's not quite what he was.
And then Robbo becomes the understudy, naturally.
You're having to address the position, and Costas makes way, but not really because he's not up to the job that. For the job that he's supposed to do, which is, you know, your backup who'll give you like 20 games a season across different competitions. I think he's done a really good job for us doing that, and this season especially, he has done well when he's played.
Just on the subject of January, Dave, and you mentioned Darwin, so it just prompted me a little bit, and I mentioned it earlier. If he is liking posts about getting a move away and stuff, what are your thoughts on that?
I think like immature, but not really surprising, because that's like one of the things that's endearing about him is he's just this fucking man child. He just does like daft things and that's part of like the charm. But you remember what he did when like he, you know, removed all like the photos of him in like Liverpool kit and that because he was getting shit from knobheads on social media. This is what I'm going back to earlier on. Like that generation, just they do things differently. I mean, on the face of it, if he has liked a post saying like AC Milan are trying to sign him, and he's like that, it's like, what are you hoping to achieve by that? It's fucking stupid. It makes no sense to do it, and it just makes you look like a tit. But I don't know that he did that. I read it on Twitter. I don't know if it's true about it. And there was no fucking screenshots accompanying it or anything. And some of the shit that I've been reading lately on Twitter from some of these accounts, and they've usually got Anfield in there somewhere, like Anfield Watch or all this stuff, and it's just fucking bollocks. It's like clickbait bollocks. Yeah. So you've got to just take everything with a pinch of salt. That's not to say he didn't do it, because I wouldn't be surprised if he did. But I don't know that he did. Yeah. But
plus,
again,
there's still the accidental like situation as well. Like, you know, you
so
scroll in.
Easy to do it.
Yeah,
it is. And there's also the fact: is he even the one who's actually running his account?
Probably not.
So there's that as well. So I don't really see that as like any kind of big deal. And I always look for stuff like on the training videos. I'm like, you know, do they look pissed off? Do they look like they're not really engaged and stuff? And he's still out there just like
doing his thing,
acting the goat and just, you know, just doing stupid stuff and messing around. And so I'm not really reading anything into that. The only thing is when he's playing, he looks broken. He just looks like he hasn't got, his spark's just gone.
He like stands out to me when he's on the pitch, not in a good way. Do you know what I mean?
When he come on today,
it just doesn't look right, does it?
And he wasn't helped by the fact that we stopped playing at 2-1, but still, there's occasions when like he's got the ball and you're like, okay, maybe you do something, and it just
doesn't
not
look
happening.
right to me.
It's not happening. But that's why I feel like the cups are important, because they're the games when like he's going to play, you know.
And he knows he's going to get most of the minutes, probably.
Yeah, so like you're rotating your squad in those games. They're the games where you like think him and Jota are probably going to get minutes. You know, they're going to get like significant minutes, and it's like maybe that's a chance to get your confidence up, do something like, because you know we scored in the last round against Southampton. Didn't really kick on from that though, but you know, it's the thing with strikers is like they sometimes just hit these little patches where like things are going great. Like everyone's fucking going on about Isak. Oh, he's this, he's that. If you go back 12 months, it was fucking Ollie Watkins who everyone was going on about.
No, Isak's good, mate.
I'm
not saying he's not.
12 months ago, Dave.
I'm not saying he's not.
Last year.
But go back to last year, what people were saying about Ollie Watkins, and now he's still a good player. You know, I'm not saying like he's not good, but it goes in like, you know, they just hit this run of form, and like it just makes you look at things differently. So he could just have a month where like he scores like 3 or 4 goals in a month, and I'm not saying that changes anything in terms of like future plans or anything, but it could get him going again, and that he needs something to just kickstart it and just get him back going again. But
like genuinely, really, really good, like a top player.
Oh yeah, he looks like that now, and he's looked good ever since he's gone there. To be fair, but he has had like quite a few injuries as well.
It's injuries which would be the question mark.
And the other question mark is like people going, "Oh, sign him." I'm like, that's not going to happen. You fucking, how much do you think Newcastle are going to want from him? That's not going to happen. We're not going to pay that kind of money.
Yeah.
We're not buying Isak for 100 million, no matter how much people might want it.
We'll have somebody else in mind. Would you sell Darwin for 40 and then buy Isak for 100 if you could do all champ manager for a second?
Nah, then that's not going to happen.
No, I didn't say.
Would I do it? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't pay that for him. I'd buy somebody else.
Chris, would you do that?
Yeah, I think so. If we could get Alexander Isak for a net 60 million, then yeah, I think I would.
But the other factor is, does he fit how we play, what we're looking for in a number 9, or are we looking for more of a Bobby type? You know, because Diaz is like the preferred choice.
I think he's a good mix, mate. You know, like
he
can do the 9 thing. He can run in behind, but if you let him turn and run at you, he's got proper ability. Like dribbling with the ball, he can do both of them. He can run in
scores
behind.
all kinds of goals as well.
But they will have a profile of what they're looking for a certain position, and he might not be it. And certainly at that price, he won't be.
I think
they'll think there's somebody else who they could get, someone like playing in another league or something, probably. Or
just hypothetical though, isn't it? You know?
Cunha, another one who might be a fit. We've been linked with João Pedro at Brighton as well. I'm not sold on him at all, by the way. No, I'm not. But he's someone who was supposedly looking at, because the type he's sort of like a false 9 type, isn't he? So
Cunha would be great though. I think he's brilliant. He's Paul's boy, isn't he? I think we should sign him, and then when he has a really bad game, we can slag him off when Paul's not on the pod, just to piss him off even more. Yeah.
Here's one for you. You know, like in Dumb and Dumber, where like Harry and Lloyd part company for a while. Lloyd drives off in the truck, and then he comes back on the little moped. Is he like traded it for the van straight up? You can get 70 miles to the gallon on this hog.
Yeah.
Straight swap. Darwin for Chris Wood.
Fuck off.
No. Come on. No.
Really?
Absolutely not.
No?
Chris Wood's a fucking donkey, mate.
No, he's not. He's fucking ace.
He's a donkey.
Chris
Wood rules.
He's like he's a fucking 80s throwback, and he's boss at what he does. I'm not knocking him, but no.
Not having him, mate. I'm sorry.
I think
you know where you start to talk.
Plus he's in his 30s.
No, you can't be serious, mate. Come on.
Straight swap. Let's fucking go.
No. Like, Dave, you were talking about people having purple patches and shit, weren't you? And I'm thinking, Isak's not that. Come on, Jesus, he's a top
I'm not
player.
saying he is.
Chris Wood's... No, you were describing Chris Wood, mate. That's no problem with that. No, he's not a Liverpool player, as long as I've got a hole in my ass. Fucking hell.
11 Premier League goals this season in 19 games. Goals per 90 minutes, 0.66.
Just no.
32% goal conversion. Whereas I'm just scanning this to see Darwin Nunez. Whereas, oh no, I'm down to 25 and he's... How many goals Darwin got in the Premier League this year? Like 2?
3, I think.
3? I don't know.
No, I think it's 2 and then 2 in the Cups.
We get Chris Wood as a kind of Ronnie Rosenthal impact. Comes in and bangs in a
how
bunch
old
of
is he?
important goals.
He's 30, isn't he?
Is
we
he?
Don't do it. We don't do that shit either. You know what I mean?
I can't
regardless
believe
of
we're
his
even having
ability,
this
and I know
91
I'm
he was born,
disgusted, to be honest.
I really like him. I think he's ace.
So do I, but there's a difference between really liking him and saying, yeah, stick him in our team. There's loads of players I really like, but that doesn't mean I'd be putting him in the team.
If we
is Chris Wood one of your boys, Dave? Or
no, he's not, but
he's my boy.
Like, I really like Gibbs White,
we know
but
that.
I wouldn't want him either.
Dave
I
steals
think he's
everybody's
boss. I
boys.
like
There's a bunch of boys I've identified in the past, and I read a report, and then all of a sudden they're like Dave's boy, and I've got no real recourse in getting back off him.
I've got quite a few, and Bermo's one.
Yeah,
has been
he's
for
good.
a while.
Like
was Ivan Toney at one point? He was another one.
he's not even scored in goals in Saudi, you know.
Jamie Vardy, love Jamie Vardy. My mind's gone blank.
We'll be here all fucking night.
Semenyo.
Yeah.
He's good. We're expecting a very quiet January again, then, aren't we?
Yeah,
basically?
we're not going to do anything. I'll tell you what. Let's talk about the Chiesa rumours.
I was just going to say,
think there's anything in that? I personally don't, but there's a lot of smoke.
That he wants to go back.
Homesick, wants to go back to Italy.
Yeah, was it Napoli?
Doesn't think he can make it here. Too physical. And yeah, there was rumours that Napoli had agreed a loan deal for him. He'd been linked with somebody else as well.
Man.
I don't know.
It's not like the Italians to give up very, very quickly, is it?
But that's if that happened, it reflects badly on everyone. It reflects badly on him for being a quitter and not sticking it out and trying to prove himself. It also reflects badly on the club for bringing him in the first place and then just cutting the losses like after 6 months. When he came in, everyone knew it was going to take a while to build him up, to get him like... I mean, it shouldn't have taken as long as it has, don't get me wrong. That is a red flag. But
even without the setbacks, though, everybody thought it's a good 3-4 months before you'll see anything out of them. So when picking up injuries in the meantime only prolongs it.
I just think it'd be really strange to... The only way it's remotely acceptable is, A, if you're buying somebody, which we won't, or B, if you're bringing Ben Doak back. And they're not going to do that either. So...
They absolutely love him up here, you know.
He's fucking brilliant.
Proper love him.
See the highlights again yesterday. He had another assist yesterday and just fucking...
Do you think he's good enough to play for us, Dave?
Right
on a
now?
regular basis?
No, but in the future, yeah. Absolutely, I do.
Has he been doing more than like...
end product, but he's fucking 19. He's not going to be like... Every time he gets in the box, he's not always going to score or pick someone out.
That like,
I mean, look at Mo's end product. How many times during the games does Mo get in good situations and do fuck all? It's like it's the volume. So if you keep getting in there, so that's the key for Ben Doak. He's always in there doing stuff, and he's 19. So as long as like
the one thing which is like
his attitude, I don't know his character or his attitude. If that's spot on, he's got the talent.
Well, he's apparently like really confident, isn't he? Like proper believes in himself,
which is good. But it also
cocky,
potentially like there's a line that you can go over with that.
Yeah,
I think it rules because like I remember John McGinn saying like because he was in the Scotland squad for the Euros and he got injured and had to pull out, and then the first international after the Euros, there's an interview with John McGinn and he was talking about Doak and he said he's a cocky lad. Like when he came in, he was saying to us, we were talking about how things went wrong at the Euros and how it could have gone better. And Ben Doak said, yeah, you know, we probably would have got out of the groups if I hadn't got injured. And he was like, you know, he'd hardly played. He said, I love him. He said, you know, I love his attitude, like, and his cockiness. And then, like, for Scotland this season, I mean, he's basically ended Guardiola's career. He's fucking destroyed him to the point where, like, he's traumatised and has never been the same after twice just getting destroyed. Like,
how many times are you going to reference that?
I want to reference it all the
10th
time.
time you fucking referenced that.
I know, and the best thing was like when I called it PTSD, but like the D was doke. I was like, Guardiola's been shit, he's suffering PTS doke.
It's just the same This is same. You've brought that up about 10 times.
I know,
honestly, I think you're going to fucking.
You know why?
senile,
I tell you
man.
what. No, it's deliberate. I tell you why I'm doing it. It's in the roundups, and it's every time Man City are fucking losing and Guardiola's making a mistake for a goal. That's why I'm talking about it. I'm not just shoehorning it in. It's always because Guardiola's done something shit, and then I'm saying he's not been the same since Ben Doak done it. So now it's just like it's like the why the long face rude thing. It's something I'm just going to throw in every week when
Have
like,
you just dropped your water together?
That thing's just going to write
It's
itself.
empty now because I spilt it all before.
It's
so
going to start. There's like a template for it now. There's long face every week. There's the Doak reference, and there's various references of certain boys you've got dotted around.
Start playing round up bingo.
I can't believe
Yeah.
I've forgotten half of my boys as well.
Yeah, it's shocking, man.
Oh, I can't believe you've forgotten something, Dave. Fucking hell.
I know, yeah.
Crazy that. The one thing on Doak though, like, there's no doubt that move's been really good for him. Like,
Yeah.
he needed live football, didn't he? You know what I mean? Where he's up against fullbacks trying to stop him. Like, because you just don't get that, do you, when you're playing for the under 21s or whatever it is, and then getting the odd few minutes in there. Like, I'll be honest with you, whenever he's been on the pitch for us, not been impressed at all by him.
No, he's not. He's not done himself justice at all.
No, I expected big things, especially with the build-up from you, and then every time.
No,
I
but
was like,
you
"Is
watch
that
him
it?
like when
Is
he was
that
coming
it?"
through the academy, he was fucking incredible. Probably all the years since I've been watching like the academy, he might be top 3.
Wow.
He's definitely top 5. He might be top 3 in terms
Better
of
than
like,
John
Sterling.
Welsh.
when you watch him, you're like, oh my god, it's fucking incredible. You're fucking laughing. John Welsh was amazing.
John Welsh is Dave's all-time favourite, apart from Owen, right? From
Yeah,
the
Michael
academy.
Owen was the best I've seen by
John
miles.
Welsh number 2.
John Welsh is definitely in the conversation for that. Honestly, he was 16, 17, 18. John Welsh was fucking unreal.
He was good.
And then
He
he
was
he didn't develop. I think like he liked the pint. He got a bit frustrated not getting opportunities, and it just never happened. But that's
Small
the thing
lad
is,
as well. I mean, he didn't really.
you just
like
never
grow.
know. You know, these kids who are like amazing, and it doesn't mean they're gonna stay amazing. And
Is
then
Doak-
someone just like a slow burner, and they get to like 20, 21, and then like you're like actually he's really good now, but he wasn't a star at 17.
So same age, Doak or Sterling?
Uh,
Because Sterling was good at that young age, wasn't he?
yeah,
Coming through.
probably Sterling because he was a bit more like first team ready. You know,
Yeah.
like, the thing with Sterling that he doesn't get enough
Didn't
credit
need a loan,
for.
did he, Sterling?
No,
That'd
the thing
be
that,
the difference.
Sterling was like he's fucking unbelievable, like game intelligence and like positional awareness and everything like
Yeah.
that. He's so good. Like you
Yeah.
can play him anywhere and he knows what he's doing.
Remember when we
what
played
let
him
down was
as
his
a
fucking
10?
terrible shooting. Yeah, but that's it.
hell,
Like you
he's
could play him
brilliant,
anywhere.
yeah.
He's so good. Like just in terms of what a clever player he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all like the the tap-ins that he misses. His shooting, like he shoots like a fucking 5-year-old kid, doesn't he? Sometimes
Yeah.
it's terrible. But and I tell you who else was amazing as a youth player as well, Jordan Ibe. Really, really special. But we know he's had like mental health issues and stuff. Just that's what I'm saying. No, you just never know. Like they might be
You can't predict
superstars
these
at like
things, can
16,
you?
17, but doesn't mean they're going to make it. So this loan's been brilliant for Doak because he was treading water a little bit and he got injured and he missed a few months last season when he would have been playing, in the cups and that. He missed those. He didn't get those opportunities because he was injured. So he needed this loan where he's playing more or less every week for a good team. Decent standard championship side. Carrick's probably a good coach by all accounts. So it's a good move for him. It's worked out. Whereas you've got other players like Cade Gordon's gone out on loan and basically just done fuck all.
The bit that's a bit of a red flag for me with the Doak thing is there's been a couple of bids this week, hasn't there? Like 15 mil, I think, off Palace, 16 off Ipswich.
Yeah.
And the beat reporters weren't saying Liverpool aren't selling them. They were naming a price where Liverpool would sell him.
Same
so
thing
when
in
you
the
start,
summer, yeah.
when you start hearing those things, you think they don't really think he's. Because if they thought he was going to be fucking boss, why would they sell him for any price? You know what I mean? That always makes me think. They think he's a good player, but that doesn't mean he's going to do anything for us. So. Yeah.
Yeah, but like
We'll have to watch that.
as the $1 million man always used to say, everyone's got a price. And if his price is 30 million with a buyback clause, that may be how they justify it. Personally, I wouldn't be selling him at all because I think, why at this age, don't make a decision on him. He could be fucking incredible at 21. He could be like fucking Ronaldo. No, Ronaldo was like...
Yeah, but they have to make a call, don't they?
I know, but they don't have to make a call, really. They can just delay it.
Well, if you get offered 30 million, you do.
I still think you can turn it down.
You can't turn down 30 million quid for someone who hasn't done anything for the first team. You can't.
I think you can. But equally, I don't think anyone will offer 30 million, so...
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've gone off on a bit of a tangent there. I still think
Chiesa's fault.
Yeah.
That's where the bent oak thing came in, because of Chiesa.
Is Chiesa's girlfriend or wife, or wherever she is she back? Is she still in Italy or is she here? Because if she's over there, I can understand why he wants to go home.
I think she moved over with him, but
is she?
I can't say that for certain, but I think so.
All right.
Another thing that the red flag with Chiesa for me is when you watch all like the videos, it's the way the other players are with him. It's kind of like, you know, when like they bring like a fan or a mascot in, and
he's like the spare part.
They're all like, you just going, "Hey, how you doing?" And it's just a bit like, oh. They're trying to integrate him and you know be nice and make him feel part of it, but it just looks kind of.
They don't believe in him, do they? You can just tell.
When like Mo's like, you know, you come round and I'll cook for you, and Key's like, no, I cook for you, and it's like, this just feels a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it doesn't look like he's part of it.
I think you might be right.
Yeah, which is you know, nobody's ever been happier at the fucking side for the club than Chiesa was, so I'm desperate for him to do well. But maybe this week maybe this is his time now. He was on the bench today, so he's obviously like fit enough now to be considered. Maybe these 2 cup games coming up is where it kickstarts for him.
Yeah, we need to give him a rest, don't we? So
or maybe he plays and gets injured, and it's like, oh, what are we doing here?
All right, well, that's the only way we're going to find out, isn't it? Like, we've got to try and get him out there at some point and see if this is something that's going to work for us.
I want to see it.
Yeah, me too. I hope it happens on Tuesday. I hope we don't risk Mo for the League Cup. Okay, so we've gone quite long. Is there anything else that you guys want to get in before we call it a night?
No, I don't think so.
No. All right. Cool. So not what we wanted today. Not too much damage done. It's always a little peeving when we can't make our superiority count against those bastards. But we remain 6 points clear at the top of the league with a game in hand. 2 cup games coming up. Tottenham on Tuesday. We'll probably be back. Sorry, Tottenham on Wednesday. We'll be back Wednesday night. And then Accrington Stanley in the FA Cup on Saturday before what is shaping up to be a really big game, Forest away next Tuesday night. Thanks very much for listening. We'll be back if there's any more information on contracts or anything like that. But until then, we'll catch you soon.